Chapter 381. How do you know I didn't prepare a gift? Mu Qiqi asked in return. Xianxia did not mind the smell on her, and held her hand as they headed to the hotel where they had booked lunch. Still, they met many people who knew Xianxia on the way, and their attitudes towards him were quite interesting. The crown prince of Huangyao has changed now. It's really sad to see Xianxia now. He has no money or power, and yet he willingly lowered himself to be a live-in son-in-law of the Shen family. He ruined himself like this for a woman. I've been a fan of him for so many years. He doesn't have to be afraid of him now, does he? Mu Qiqi and Xianxia heard those discussions as they passed by and sneered inwardly. Even if Xianxia had really left the Xing family, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse, and those people would not have the right to point fingers at him. Xianxia, on the other hand, appeared nonchalant. He liked to see those people's reactions. These people really like to kick a man when he's down. Mu Qiqi argued for her man when she took a seat. What's the rush? Xianxia said meaningfully. Why waste your energy on unimportant people and things? Mu Qiqi only looked around at his words and found herself surrounded by rose bushes. She could not help taking out the tie she had bought for Xianxia from her purse. There were blue stripes on it, a color that Xianxia would not even glance at in the past. But now he chose to keep a low profile. I wanted to give it to you last night, but you weren't wearing anything at the time. Xianxia lifted his chin. Come here and help me tie it. Mu Qiqi rose from her seat and walked to Xianxia, tying his necktie for him like a newbie. Her movements were really clumsy. Xianxia wrapped his arm around her waist and watched as she seriously thought about the steps to tie the tie. Feeling pleased, he asked, Did you just learn it? Yeah. I've watched videos online and failed a few times, Mu Qiqi said quietly. Mu Qiqi said quietly. You've always been so impeccable in the Xing family, and I rarely have the chance to help you with such trifles. Looks like my little one is learning how to be a good wife. Now that you're staying with the Shen family, I finally have the chance to play around with you. Or I'll kick you out. How arrogant. Xianxia smiled and suddenly hooked his arm around Mu Qiqi's neck. Then he kissed her on the lips. So I'm like a tiger being bullied by a dog. You're the dog. Mu Qiqi was rather dissatisfied with his description. Then she rode on his thighs. Moreover, I know your real intention today is not to celebrate. You just want to appease me so that I won't be bothered about Miss Gu. That's right. That's right. So many thoughts. After the two of them had enough intimacy, the two of them started the real lunch. In fact, Xianxia had another purpose. Old Xing had put on such a big show to give him a warning, and Xianxia would certainly return the favor. Grandpa Xing would be very anxious if he saw him eating out with his little one without their relationship being affected at all, wouldn't he? Sure enough, when old Xing learned about it, he slammed the table angrily and stood up. You good for nothing. Can you eat by staying with a woman? The young master of the Xing family is actually throwing himself at a woman. What a great humiliation to the Xing family. If not for his ability, the Xing family would have gotten rid of such an unworthy descendant long ago. Meanwhile, at the Su residence, Su Yihong and Papa Su had gone to the hospital for a paternity test. He appeared unfazed in the face of danger, as if he wasn't worried about the outcome at all. Was his composure really because Jing Yun had wronged him, or was he putting on an act for Papa Su's benefit? Father, I believe that the test would prove my innocence. When the time comes, you would know who is lying between me and Yifeng. I don't want you two brothers to turn against each other. Papa Su said emotionally. Su Yihong interacted with his father as usual. The more nervous he was, the more he reminded himself not to show any flaws. That way he and eldest uncle Su would have more time to empty the Su family. Moreover, the core project of the Su family was all under his control. To smoothly seize Su holdings, he and eldest uncle Su had even thought of a way to seize management rights. Even if he was temporarily suspended now, it would not affect the progress of their plan. On the other hand, what could Jing Yun do even if he was the third young master of the Su family? Wasn't there nothing they could do about him? Now that news of Su Yihong's suspension had spread, Su Holdings would definitely take sides. Now was the best time to reshuffle the cards. And Jing Yun had no leverage in this war. After learning that the two had gone for a DNA test, Mama Su told Papa Su over the phone, I really didn't think that eldest brother could be so calm. Old Su, I've seen the DNA test between Yifeng and eldest brother, and I believe that Feng Er is telling the truth. You must be careful. Even if we know, we can't do anything about him without the results. Moreover, he had been lurking in Su Holdings for years and had made all sorts of preparations. We can't stop him now even if we wanted to. Do you want to talk to Feng Er? Mama Su asked Papa Su. After all, he has so many years of experience. Give the phone to Feng Er, Papa Su said. Father. Jing Yun called out calmly after taking the phone. Tell me what you think. Jing Yun said nothing and Papa Su sighed too. Don't worry and speak boldly. I don't know why, but deep down I'm more willing to believe you. Not only do you want to suspend eldest brother but eldest uncle too. You're the one in charge of Su Holdings and you don't need to find any reasonable reason, or just suspending eldest brother would be useless. Secondly, clean up eldest brother's spies in Su Holdings. Think of a way to find out who eldest brother's people are, and think of a way to replace those who are close to eldest brother. Thirdly, stop the core project in eldest brother's hands. You must work with the relevant departments beforehand, and not let it fall into eldest brother's hands even if it has to be scrapped. Otherwise, Su Holdings would lose even more if he took it away. Before they found me, both father and son had only wanted to seize power in secret. But now that I'm here, they have no choice but to make more moves. Chapter 382. When did the assessment center say the results would be out? 3 days. Why? Papa Su pressed. Expediting it would save time and catch eldest brother off guard. Papa Su nodded at Jing Yun's words. Come back as soon as possible when the storm blows over and share my burden. Although it's a little weird to say this now, I still want to say that it's worth it if this could bring you closer to father and son. Mama Su said to Jing Yun after hanging up. I want to go home as soon as possible. Jing Ting is the crown prince's place, and having him stay at the Shins isn't a solution. Don't worry, mother. Things might be troublesome but it's not impossible. As for Xianxia, how could he not know what he was thinking after being with him for so many years? If Xianxia stayed at Jing Ting, old Xing would definitely send people to harass Muqiqi. On the other hand, staying at the Xin's residence was much safer. And now that he was the son-in-law of the Xing family, it was only reasonable that he would stay with Xing Minglan at Jingting. At night at the Sheng's residence. It was the second day after Gu Xiling moved into the Sheng's residence. To take care of his future granddaughter-in-law, old Xing had decorated the best room in the Sheng's residence to look like her own room at the Gu's residence, even instructing the butler to pay attention to Gu Xiling's needs at all times. Gu Xiling quickly got acquainted with everyone in the Xing family, and naturally learned what kind of existence and role Xianxia had in the family. While second brother was extraordinary, he was ultimately no match for a genius like Xianxia. Still, with Xianxia hiding at the Xin's residence, there was nothing she could do even if she wanted to meet him, was there not? At night, second brother returned from Huangyao and found Gu Xiling drinking tea alone at the Sheng's golf course. He walked up to her and asked, "Aren't you cold?" Gu Xiling turned and smiled at second brother. I'm staying at the Sheng's residence and Grandpa Xing treats me so well. Why would I feel cold? Grandpa likes you a lot. Second brother sat down beside Gu Xiling. But eighth brother, speaking of which, second brother, I happen to have a favor to ask. Tell me. I want to meet Xianxia in secret, said Gu Xiling. I'm really curious about him. Second brother felt a tightness in his chest at that. Is staying with the Xin family now and the Xing family doesn't know where he is. He definitely wouldn't come out when we meet. It's Grandpa's birthday in March. By then, eighth brother would have lost all his anger and calmed down completely. When that time comes, we'll let him return to the Xing family and you'll be able to see him. It seems that this is the only way. Gu Xiling nodded helplessly. Her request to see her future fiancé seemed to be perfectly justified. Once Gu Xiling was sure that the person she liked was Xianxia, the old man would announce the good news at once, regardless of whether Xianxia agreed or not. Even so, for some reason second brother was feeling uncomfortable inside. The weather is still very cold. Go back to your room and rest. Gu Xiling nodded. In fact, she had the same plan. It was time to go back to her room. Why was Gu Xiling leaning toward Xianxia? It was simple. She did not need a man who loved her very much. All she wanted was a marriage in name only and used that to leave the Gu family. That was why second brother was never her choice from the start. Xianxia and Muqiqi were now stuck together and passionately in love. It was clear that he did not fancy her, which made him more likely to agree to be a contract couple. Even so, Gu Xiling was overthinking things. Of all her thoughts, the fact that Xianxia and Muqiqi were inseparable was the only thing that was right. First of all, Xianxia would never be engaged to her. Second, Muqiqi was not a simple person who would let Xianxia rob her just like that. Third, she had underestimated how much Xianxia hated the Xing family. As for why second brother was not her choice, a woman's intuition was very accurate. She could understand a thing or two from the way second brother looked at her. While he did not like her that much, second brother definitely saw her as an ideal partner. Even so, the last thing she needed in this life was a man's love. She was scared. On the other hand, the grandson of the Xing family had been staying with the Shen family without a proper reason. Naturally, Old Master Shen could do many things that would make Old Master Shen lose face and say things that would hurt Old Master Shen's ears. The two families had been friends for years, but now that things had fallen to such a state, it was a pity and a pity. For example, one of the rumors was that the Shen family could not have a son, and so wanted a grandson for free? Or that she was the greatest vixen in all of Jianchuan, seducing men at the age of 18 and causing a rift between her grandson and her family. What was that if not capability? Old Shen was naturally angry at those words, but he could not lash out. After all, Xianxia was staying with the Shen family without a proper reason. Moreover, the engagement between the two families had been annulled, and Xianxia really had no right to stay here. Sensing her grandfather's anger, Muqiqi pretended to be obedient. "You're a man of merit, grandfather. Why bother with those people? I feel sorry for you. You're so young and yet you're being criticized so harshly." "Grandfather." Muqiqi leaned on the old man's shoulder and cried coquettishly. "Xiaoxiao would abandon the Xing family for me. I can't just let him be and pick up a husband for free, don't you think? If you weren't so young, I would have asked you to do it and I would have picked up a grandson for free. What's wrong with that?" The old man snorted. "I just don't get it. He's already so old. Why does he still have the effort to interfere with the affairs of his grandchildren? What does he not like about the granddaughter of the Shen family?" "Because I'm disobedient." Muqiqi found the root of the problem. Her birth was controversial in the first place, but that was fine since the Shen family's reputation had been restored. Still, she insisted on being a forensic doctor and did not contribute to Huang Yao at all. That was what old Xing could not stand. Who is he trying to provoke by looking for the daughter of the Gu family? He can't even watch over his grandson. He's spreading such nasty rumors just to force Xiaoxiao to show up. You should be magnanimous and forgive the Xing family. Grandfather and granddaughter were still chatting by the fish pond after nightfall. Xianxia, who had come to catch Muqiqi to rest, heard their conversation. He was aware of the shouts from the Xing family. While it was within his expectations that the Shen family would be dragged into the mess, he could not let the Shen family suffer all the time. That was why Xianxia did not ask Muqiqi to return to her room after listening to their conversation. Instead, he turned and left so that the grandfather and granddaughter could have a good talk. Chapter 383. By the way, the old man of the Xing family had thought of a way to cancel the engagement with the Shen family, and then turned around and welcomed the young lady of the Gu family into his family. What does that mean? Old Xing is really displeased with the little bride being his granddaughter-in-law. Back then, this little bride had also shown amazing results during the VVIP night of Huang Yao. It's a pity that old Xing really doesn't want to pay the bill. So the Xing family spread the rumor that the Shen family hid their grandson and couldn't give birth to a son. Could it be that you can't give birth to a daughter, and that's why you brought the young lady of the Gu family home? The crown prince has hands and feet, but he would rather give up on a bright future in Huang Yao to stay with the Shen family. It only means that the Xing family is a failure. Unable to have a child, they are driven to desperation and say things to provoke the Shen family. Forgive me for being blunt, but old Shen is a military man while old Xing is a stinky businessman. Are you bullying the Shen family because you have some reputation and many customers? Old friends? The Xing family's method of killing the donkey after it's no longer useful is really the same. Stinky. Overnight, the mood among the nobles changed abruptly, thanks to Xing Zhao's wide network of friends. The more friends he had, the more things he could do. Xing Xiao promptly called the old man. From now on, he would spread rumors about the Xing family and the Shen family even more. Of course, it had to be detrimental to the Xing family. How could old Xing sit still after hearing these rumors? He called old Master Shen directly. But unfortunately, old Master Shen had already deleted his contact information. Hence, when he saw the unknown number, he asked in confusion, "Who is this?" Old Xing's face fell in anger. "It's me." "Oh, it's you. What is it?" Old Shen retorted impatiently. "Old Shen, we've been friends for years. How could you bear to make such a fuss over something so trivial? Moreover, eighth brother is a grandson of the Xing family. What reason does the Shen family have to stop him from returning home? I don't want to talk nonsense with you. If you want to see eighth brother, go to the Shen family and wait for him. Don't blame me for hiding your grandson. You can't take care of your grandson. It's your incompetence." Grandpa Shen was also angry. "I have already prepared a new wife candidate for eighth brother. I hope that the Shen family will not interfere." "How dare you? Don't call me again." Grandpa Shen hung up the phone abruptly. It was no wonder that Grandpa Xing was angry. When he thought of the excuse that Grandpa Xing had used to break off the engagement, he felt like he had swallowed a fly. They had been working hand in hand for so many years, but in the end things had come to this. Soon old Xing hung up and went to the Shen's residence with his butler. He believed that as long as the Shen family did not encourage or support him, he would have returned home long ago. After all, how could he survive in Jianchuan without Huang Yaoan's status? "Master, if you do this, it won't work on eighth young master. You know he won't be moved by force or persuasion. Remind me not to be so hot-tempered when I see him. Give him some face and say a few good words." Grandpa Shen was very reluctant. "Got it." Moments later, Xing Zhao's car drove out of the Shen's residence. It was a very ordinary black Mercedes-Benz. Su Che was the driver, and they found Grandpa Xing waiting by the door when they got out. "Chief Xing." If Xing Xiao had not stopped the car on his own, Grandpa Xing might not have known that the ordinary car was eighth brother's. How could that be possible with eighth brother's flamboyant personality? How could he know that Xing Xiao was deliberately keeping a low profile? Watching as Xing Xiao got out of the car, Grandpa Xing snorted coldly and walked towards him. When they met, Xing Zhao's first words were, "You haven't given up yet? Eighth brother, you can't just hide in the Shen's residence, can you? You are a Sheng and you can't stay in the Shen's residence without a proper reason. It wouldn't be nice if word got out. I'll let bygones be bygones as long as you come home with me." Was that what he meant by nice? Xing Xiao promptly put his hands in his pockets at that. "If you don't try to spread those disgusting rumors, I think I might do as you wish. Isn't it your birthday in March? I'll give you an answer on your birthday, but don't do such useless things in the meantime, and don't appear before the Shen family. Don't come looking for me in the meantime, and don't push your luck." Grandpa Xing's brow relaxed at that. "Are you serious?" "Of course. Brat, I'll trust you one more time. Don't do anything that hurts me. You better do as you say, or I'll never step through the gates of the Shen family for the rest of my life." With that, Xing Xiao opened the car door and got into the car, instructing Su Che to drive. "Master, it seems that young master has his own difficulties. Since he likes Miss Mu Qiqi so much, let him handle his personal affairs, and he would be able to give Miss Gu an explanation when he returns to the Shen family." Grandpa Xing nodded at the butler's words. The brat has never gone back on his word. Since he plans to return to the Xing family on my birthday, I would certainly be generous enough to let him bid farewell to Mu Qiqi. Humph. In the end he was still a Sheng. No matter how many tricks the Shen family had up their sleeves, they couldn't stop Xing Xiao from returning to his real home. But what was Xing Xiao planning? On the day of the old man's birthday, he would naturally announce to the world that he would become the Shen family's live-in son-in-law, rent the biggest billboard in Jianchuan and hang it up for a week. Would old Xing still not give up then? Right now he was merely keeping the old man in check so that he wouldn't hurt the Shen family again. Old Xing was in a good mood when he returned to the Xing family. Curious, sixth brother asked the butler, "What's making you so happy, Grandpa? Eighth young master might return on your birthday." The butler appeared excited as well. Sixth brother, however, was not as happy. Was eighth brother really giving up on Mu Qiqi? And what did he take the Xing family for? A food market? Going out as he pleased and coming back as he pleased. Hence, sixth brother vented his displeasure in front of second brother. Eighth brother is so lucky. Leaving aside the fact that you're giving up your position, second brother, the daughter of the Gu family is already prepared for him. Second brother did not feel good about it at that. No matter how resolute Grandpa Xing was, he knew very well that Grandpa Xing only had Xianxia as his successor. No matter how hard he tried, it would all be in vain. Chapter 384. Even Gu Xiling, who had never met Xianxia before, was very curious about him. Since eighth brother wants to come back, we'll just listen to his arrangements. Don't be so sour. You have to know that eighth brother has more ways to deal with Huang Yao. This is something that all of us must know. What about Miss Gu? He clearly doesn't like her, and now he has a fiancée. Grandfather is being too biased. We all know who eighth brother likes the most, and it's painful enough that he can't be with the person he loves the most. Why do you have to mock him like that? Sixth brother sighed, but he did not keep complaining even if he was dissatisfied. I really hope that eighth brother never comes back to the Xing family. Second brother said nothing else and simply kept working diligently. Although there was a seed of complaint in the depths of his heart, it did not sprout. On this day, old Xing calmed down after getting Xing Zhao's answer, and stopped bothering the Xing family. Moreover, old Xing told Gu Xiling about it too, and Gu Xiling would be able to meet Xianxia on his birthday as she wished. Meanwhile, the Xin family was finally at peace. Old Xin was very puzzled as to what Xianxia had done. Xianxia, on the other hand, told the old man that he had to tell his grandfather that he would give him an answer on his birthday. You're definitely not thinking of returning to the Xing family. Old Xin saw through his trick at once. It's my fault that the Xin family got involved in the first place, and I definitely have to take responsibility. Xianxia answered old Xin during dinner. I'll tell him on his birthday that I intend to stay with the Xin family for the rest of my life, and that I'm just that stubborn. Are you still not going to make Zhongting public? When Zhongting is on track and I come into contact with more people, people would eventually know that I have a new identity. Xianxia did not mind being looked at by the outside world, be it humiliation or mockery. Just come at him. Meanwhile, the military would have more faith in Xing Zhao's ability to endure humiliation for the greater good. Grandpa Xin nodded and raised his eyebrows. That will be a big shock. You have to deal with it properly. Otherwise, your grandfather will put all the blame on the Xin family in the future. I know. Let's go help Jing Yun and fourth sister since we can take a breather now. Mu Qiqi suggested. There are many rumors about the Su family. Everyone in Su Holdings must be panicking now. Xianxia pinched Mu Qiqi's chin and looked at her. Do you think Jing Yun can't clean up this mess? It's not that I don't believe him. I just feel that this matter cannot be dragged on like this. Your husband is going to be looked down upon very soon. Don't you care? Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes and punched his chest. I think you're enjoying it. Xianxia held Mu Qiqi's hand. At that moment, Grandpa Xin cleared his throat and reminded them to pay attention to the occasion. If Jing Yun needs help, he will ask for it. He hasn't called yet, which means that he can still handle it for now. If that's the case, take me to see Xianxian tonight. Xianxia did not say anything. He thought about the little one. It had been a long time since he last saw his good friend. After dinner, Xianxia went back to his room to change his clothes. At that moment, Grandpa Xin said to his granddaughter, "This kid is planning to take all the consequences on his grandfather's birthday. He loves you and has given up a lot for you. Although I have to nag him a little, I have to say that I have nothing to say about Xing Zhao's love for you." Xing Zhao's eyes widened. There are some things that even I might not be able to do. That is why, Qiqi, happiness belongs to two people. Don't let Xianxia keep sacrificing himself for you. Mu Qiqi couldn't help hugging her grandfather's arm at Grandpa Xin's words. With you supporting him like this, he won't have nothing. I might not be able to help him in business, but I can give him all my love. As long as he doesn't give up on me, I will follow him forever, Grandpa. After hearing this, the old man nodded in relief. It was rare for him to feel such a strong love from his grandchildren in such an impetuous society. Aren't you going out? Hurry up and go. When Mu Qiqi heard that, she stood up and turned around, only to find that Xianxia had changed his clothes and was standing behind them. Of course, Xianxia heard what she said just now. I'll follow you forever. Why can't you say those words of love in front of me? I don't want you to be smug. Mu Qiqi smiled. Come to think of it, it had been some time since Mu Qiqi and Lu Qianxian met, and Lu Qianxian had a lot of things to complain about with Mu Qiqi. The four of them met at a French restaurant. But Mu Qiqi looked at Lu Xianxian in confusion when she saw that Lin Mu and was bandaged. Did you do that? Lu Xianxian rolled her eyes and said angrily, I didn't do it. It's his grandfather. He got someone to beat him up. Are you talking about Grandpa Lin? He went back to the police academy and cut ties with his family. He had nowhere to go during the holidays, so I had to take him in. Perhaps his grandfather couldn't get used to seeing me and him together, so you have a backbone. Mu Qiqi had a whole new level of respect for Lin Mu, and the last time they had a big fight with the Lin family over Lu Qianqian's birthday, they were unexpectedly staying together as best friends. What do you plan to do next? He would go back to school when the academy reopens. What reason would he have to hang on to me? Lin Muan listened. But how was he supposed to eat his steak with one hand? Did you come to a French restaurant when you know I can't use my hand? Did you do it on purpose, little pepper? Moreover, I can protect you after I graduate from the academy. How could you be so heartless? All right. I'll believe you when your grandfather doesn't stop you at the door and beat you up. Lu Qianxian was disgusted, but still put her steak on Lin Mu An's plate. Mu Qiqi looked at Xianxia by reflex at that. Everyone could see the adultery between the two. How could they still stay together as best brothers for so long? Think about us rich kids, each one is worse than the other. Lin Mu and sighed even as he ate his steak. Isn't the crown prince empty now and the Shin family's live-in son-in-law? He's not much better than me. How could you compare to the crown prince? Lu Qianxian quickly retorted. He has the ability to do whatever he wants. What about you? Little Pepper, I'm sincere in everything. Don't you see that I decided to become a police officer because of... Of course, Lin Mu and did not say the word you, and simply froze. Chapter 385. Watching them bicker at each other was certainly soothing and all worries were forgotten. Still, old Lin would not let Lin Mu and roam free for long. If he really wanted to break free from the Lin family's control, he must learn how to plan now. If he did not have any thoughts deep in his heart and was as innocent as when he was with Lu Qianxian, there was basically no chance of saving them. Still, Xianxia did not say anything. It was only when they reached home that he told Mu Qiqi, Lin Mu and will be caught soon. In truth, Mu Qiqi knew very well that the likes and dislikes of these so-called big families did not matter at all. They always had endless responsibilities on their shoulders, and for the sake of their families, they should not hesitate to sacrifice themselves. Now it depends on whether Lin Mu and is really naive or pretending to be naive. Xing Zhao's lips curled into a radiant smile. The little one was very transparent, which was something he liked very much. Though young, she was not naive, and would not lose hope even if she knew the ways of the world. Lin Mu and had been around old Lin for years. How could he not know what the old man was thinking? That day when he was beaten up by old Lin's men, he knew very well that his grandfather would not care about the relationship between grandfather and grandson when he became ruthless. After all, to old Lin, losing Xianxia was no different from losing a dog in the family. Although the dog did not have as many functions as he did, it was still more obedient than he was. After meeting Xianxia today, Lin Mu and also knew that it was time to say goodbye to Lu Qianxian for the time being. Therefore, after dinner, Lin Mu and told Lu Qianxian, I've already asked the school leaders to help me apply for a police internship. If there are no accidents, the letter of recommendation will be here tomorrow. Didn't you say that you would be my bodyguard for this month? Lu Qianxian was puzzled. Are you afraid that what happened that day would happen again? Yes, I'm not afraid of getting hurt. But I'm afraid of getting beaten again. Lin Muan laughed. Silly girl, I should find my own things to do after accompanying you for these days. You have to inherit the family business and I have my own path to walk. Lu Qianxian finally nodded at his words. It's been a quiet new year. It doesn't feel like New Year. Lin Mu and smiled as he watched her finish eating. Then he reached out and ruffled her hair. From now on, you don't need to see the Lin family anymore. Let your grandfather beat me to death too. Look at how you, the young master of the Lin clan, are being tortured. This is my own choice. Lin Mu and was still the young master from before. He seemed to be so calm and carefree, but only he knew how it felt to have someone he wanted to protect in the depths of his heart. Then, when can we meet again? Without you, my life would be a lot less fun. Go and make more shady friends, I'll definitely appear. Lu Qianxian laughed as well. But in fact both of them felt empty and upset that night. The next morning the Su family. The results of Papa Su and Su Yihong's tests should have taken 3 days. But since Papa Su had secretly rushed them, the results were out in 2 days. Mama Su quickly went to the identification center to get the results, and sent it to Papa Su. When Papa Su saw it he was shaking with rage even though he was mentally prepared. Think about it, it was one thing for him to raise someone else's son for so many years, but his own son was abandoned by this pair of father and son. If it wasn't for Jing Yun's luck he wouldn't even know that his own son had died outside. And now this pair of father and son were scheming against Su Holdings and trying to seize power? Although Papa Su usually didn't have a temper, it didn't mean he could tolerate such things. Since his own eldest brother had almost ruined his family, he would be letting down the trust he had in them over the years if he didn't retaliate. Not to mention the hardships Jing Yun had suffered outside. Hence he quietly went to Jing Ting and got his lawyer to meet him. Then the whole family sat down and told the lawyer the whole story. The lawyer was an exclusive member of the Su family and had a good relationship with Su Yihong. Even so he couldn't help sighing after reading the test report. Chairman Su, I've watched Yihong grow up too. It's too scary if he really is that good at hiding things. Now, you just have to tell me what is the truth behind his relationship with my eldest brother. Papa Su was utterly disgusted now. The son he had loved for so many years was not his own son. Any other man would never be able to stand it. I'll do my best to pin it on fraud. That way, all movable and immovable assets and shares that Su Yihong has enjoyed as your son should be frozen. Your eldest brother is privy to the matter, and it would be easier to pin him on fraud than Su Yihong, since it depends on whether Su Yihong is being proactive or passive. In private, I suggest you talk to your eldest sister-in-law about this. She might be able to provide you with more evidence. Also, keep an eye on Su Holdings' accounts. Well, I'll have to trouble you with that, Lawyer Rong. Papa Su said. I really pity your real eldest son and third son. That father and son are really out of their mind. After the lawyer left, Papa Su couldn't help hugging Jing Yun. I've let you and your eldest brother down. You and your eldest brother have suffered. This has nothing to do with you, father. If that father and son hadn't been up to no good, eldest brother and I would have been fine. Although you're comforting me, I still feel guilty. Don't worry, I'll definitely give you an explanation. I'll have a board meeting this afternoon, and you should come back and help me. What do you want to do, father? What do I want to do? Papa Su turned to his wife. I'll have to trouble you with this, Mum. And Feng, can you still contact Su Yihong's mistress? She's overseas now, but she's married to 3 other men. None of them are happy and she even has a mixed-blood son. Can you convince her to come back as a witness? She won't be able to escape if eldest uncle charges her with fraud, which is why she would never help us. The best way is for them to fight each other and things could only get out of hand that way. That's settled then. Our family of 3 will act separately and I'll help you vent your frustrations. Su Yihong believed that he held a threat against the Su family. That was why there was a chance he could stir things up. Still, that was because Papa Su was still wary of his identity. Chapter 386. Su Yihong had expected a temporary board meeting at Su Holdings. Several of the shareholders who supported him had privately informed him that if there was a plan before, it could be carried out now. Su Yihong expected that Papa Su had called for the board meeting so urgently because he had already received the results of the DNA test beforehand. After all, Jing Yun had so many things on his mind that he would definitely have Papa Su handle it in advance. Still, Papa Su had his own plans and Su Yihong had his way. The board meeting at Su Holdings was about to begin at 2 in the afternoon, and Jing Yun followed Papa Su to the company. Naturally, he did not have the right to appear at the meeting. At the same time, Mama Su took the DNA test and Jing Yun's DNA test and asked a friend to meet the wife of eldest Uncle Su's wife, since she wanted to help her husband and son settle the matter as soon as possible. The wife of the eldest uncle of the Su family had always tolerated her husband, because she had always blamed herself for not being able to give him a son. Hence, deep down she knew that her husband had gone out to look for mistresses. She had caused a ruckus in the past, but her husband had restrained himself. That was why she had turned a blind eye to it all these years as long as it was not too much. She was surprised to meet Mama Su today. While the 2 families usually met, there were not many chances for a private meeting like this. Eldest sister, Sister-in-law, what are you doing? Mama Su sat down looking confused. Of course, she was aware that her brother had suspended her husband from his duties. I'm here today to show you two things. With that, Mama Su handed the two reports to her eldest sister-in-law. Mama Su had a bad feeling when she saw the yellow paper bag, which was why she was very hesitant when she took it. Sister-in-law, could you be asking me to betray my husband? Your brother might be a little overboard, but he wouldn't go so far as to. You'll know when you see it, eldest sister. Mama Su said quietly. Su Yihong nodded and mustered her courage to open the yellow paper bag before throwing it aside. What's this? She was so excited that she rose to her feet. Su Yihong, the eldest son of my family, isn't actually my child with one Hong, but eldest brother and his mistress. That's impossible. Although he has a mistress, he doesn't have any children. I'm sure of that. Sister-in-law, there's proof in the hospital. When I gave birth to eldest brother was with that woman and gave birth in the hospital as well. In order to seize power, he did everything he could to replace my eldest brother. It's a pity that my real son died when he was only a few years old. Mama Su's tears streamed down her face when she said that. The eldest Su sister-in-law stared at Mama Su in shock, clearly unwilling to accept the truth. However, the Su family had always doted on Su Yihong, and since Mama Su had come to her, there was nothing more to be said about the matter. Hence she sat down again, although she appeared rather dazed and unable to accept it. That bastard. Eldest sister-in-law, this is not the only evil that my eldest brother has done. You know that I've just found my third child, but do you know who lost my third child? Mrs. Su knew very well that Mama Su had almost gone mad searching for Jing Yun over the years. If this matter was also done by that bastard, the few of us are really blind. What do you want me to do? No, I'll tell sister-in-law to continue. After all, what if you still want this family? The eldest Su sister-in-law promptly slapped the table and rose to her feet. I've endured it for so many years for my daughter. I would have divorced him if I knew that the bastard had a son outside. Do you think I care about this marriage? What family? He's never cared about me or my daughter over the years, and I was just wondering. So he had a son in the first place. And here I was thinking that I owed him something. What do you people plan to do? There was nothing more delightful than being united against a common enemy. You just have to take back what you deserve and not mistreat yourself and your niece. That's all. I want to divorce him. Otherwise, sooner or later, everything he has will belong to that bastard. Don't even think about it. Sister-in-law, you and second brother don't need to feel any guilt. Just based on what that bastard did, he should have been struck by lightning long ago and broken up with his family. This sister-in-law was a sensible woman. That was why Papa Su was assured to tell her about the matter. If you've really thought it through, please listen to us. Before Papa Su could sue the eldest uncle for fraud, they should divorce him and take half of his assets. Otherwise, it would be too late when his assets were frozen. I don't know if you need it, but I still have evidence of his extramarital affairs. I don't know if I've taken pictures of the mistress who gave birth to his child. There's also evidence of him taking bribes from the shareholders. Really? Meanwhile, the shareholders had taken their seats in the meeting room of Su Holdings. Of course, the eldest uncle and Su Yihong, who had been suspended, were not present. Still, those two had been waiting in the dark. If Papa Su dared to act recklessly, they would not sit still and wait for death. Jing Yun was standing outside the meeting room. In truth, he was not as calm as he appeared to be. After all, he was aware that every shareholder here was connected to their own interests. If Su Yihong had given them enough benefits, Papa Su would not have an easy time holding the board meeting. Chairman Su, hurry up and say what's on your mind. Everyone's time is also very precious. Papa Su found it difficult to speak even as he held the report. Still, after some thought, he said, the Su family has produced two good actors. While it's a family scandal that shouldn't be aired in public, I have to say it since it concerns the very foundation of Su Holdings. Su Yihong isn't my biological son, which is why I've left the matter to my lawyer. His shares and the latest projects of Su Holdings are to be frozen. The shareholders were half aware at that. Chief Su, whose is he if he isn't your son? Chairman Su, you have to make it clear to everyone. Su Yihong is the child of my eldest brother and his mistress. He swapped his own son with my own in order to seize power, and that's why he ended up like this today. Papa Su explained. To think that something like that actually happened. The shareholders appeared to have their doubts cleared and their desire for gossip satisfied. That was when someone voiced an objection. But the version I know isn't like that. Chapter 387. The version I know is that you knew that your child was sick, and so begged your eldest brother to swap the child, because you said that you were afraid that your wife wouldn't be able to take the blow. Your kind elder brother decided to sacrifice himself for you and let you adopt his child. However, he didn't expect that today because of your own suspicions. Not only did you remove him and his son from their positions, but you also accused him of deceiving you? Everyone fell into deep thought at those words. That explanation did not seem wrong. Why do you seem to know more about my family than I do, Director Wen? Papa Su asked calmly in return. Could you be a parasite in our stomachs? Your eldest brother and I have always been close, and he would naturally tell me everything about you. What's so strange about that? Director Wen sneered. All these years, Yihong has made great contributions to Su Enterprise. Is it because you found third brother or because you're suspicious of Yihong that's why you're putting on this show? Am I right? How could I abandon my own son? Papa Su roared. What did that father and son offer you? Whatever it is, you have to listen to the person in question to know. With that, Director Wen rose from his chair and went to fetch Su Yihong and his son, who had been waiting downstairs. Jing Yun knew that the father and son were up to something again when he saw them, and couldn't help worrying about Papa Su's situation. Meanwhile, Su Yihong told Jing Yun as he walked past him, "You're just a dog even if you've been with Xianxia for a long time. I think the Sheng family wasn't wrong to call you that." Jing Yun said nothing and watched as the father and son entered the room. The other directors watched as the father and son appeared, readying themselves to watch the show. Wenhong, I really didn't think that you would really treat me like this. You weren't like this when you begged me to give you my child. Father and son, we worked so hard for Su Holdings, but you trampled us like this today. How could you let me down like this? Everyone here, please be the judge. I'm the eldest brother and I gave my own flesh and blood to stabilize his family, but what about him? Today they actually slandered me for cheating. If it were you, wouldn't you be disappointed? Papa Su remained calm even as he watched them act. Leaving everything else aside, you're acknowledging that you're father and son, right? Papa Su asked, getting to the point. We are father and son. Didn't you already know that? Ever since Yihong was born you knew. Then what illness did my own son have when he was born? Papa Su pressed. Vihimia. Papa Su chuckled at those words. That's to prevent you and your father from making things up. That's why I've found all the information about my wife's childbirth. My child was healthy and signed by the doctor when he was born. I don't know where your leukemia came from. Of course you won't admit it. Besides, you can totally fabricate evidence. Wenhong, how have I not treated you well? 2 days ago I even broke my finger for your third brother. Why do you have to trample on me like this? The shareholders in the audience all shook their heads after hearing the two men's words. Everyone seemed real and everyone seemed fake. Since you're so heartless, I wouldn't keep tolerating you, would I? Since you want to chase us out of Su Holdings, I'm going to fire you as chairman. Shareholders, what do you think of my suggestion? Everyone has seen Yihong's achievements in Su Holdings over the years, but Su Wenhong has done nothing and missed the most important opportunity for Su Holdings to rise. Don't forget that Yihong now holds the most advanced research of Su Holdings. How many years of blood, sweat and tears did he put into it? Who else would Su Holdings' future be passed to if not him? Many of the shareholders nodded at that. More importantly, they were being coerced by Su Yihong's projects. That was also eldest Uncle Su's intention. Is that so? There would be no new projects without Yihong. There would be no new projects without Yihong? That's the funniest joke I've ever heard. A project's development is a team success, and I really couldn't tell that he could achieve such greatness alone? Papa Su retorted. Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. You said that you'd get a lawyer to handle this matter, but I did too. I'd like to see if you could take it if that incident all those years ago was exposed. Eldest Uncle Su said viciously. Since all the shareholders are here, let's settle this today. Let's vote to fire Su Wenhong. The pair of father and son had really underestimated how disgusting they could be. Had the shareholders really fallen for their tricks and decided to take a stand? Perhaps Jing Yun, who was standing by the door, couldn't bear to listen anymore. Hence, he promptly opened the door to the meeting room and faced all the shareholders. Third young Master Su, you're not a member of the board. What are you doing? Director Wen immediately expressed his disgust. I'm laughing, Director Wen. You don't know how to judge the situation. Jing Yun replied. First of all, the shareholders' right to vote is based on the director not carrying out his duty. This is the first time I've heard of a shareholder using family matters as an excuse to remove a chairman. Could it be that your common interest isn't to earn more money, but to see my father fall from power? Second, you should know that my father holds 42% of the voting rights. Are you really going to offend him for Su Wentao and his son? Third, regardless of how Su Yihong became my eldest brother, the police would naturally investigate the matter. I'd advise everyone to be rational and not be used as a tool. Fourth, once the police file the case, it means that all the resources Su Yihong enjoyed because of my father would be frozen. Are you sure you want to support someone who would soon lose everything? Is it worth such a huge risk? The shareholders were troubled once again at Jing Yun's words. You have no right to speak here. Get out. Su Yihong barked at Jing Yun. Who do you think you are in Su Holdings? And who do you think you are? A loud shout suddenly came from the entrance, attracting everyone's attention. Mama Su had arrived at Su Holdings' meeting room with her eldest sister-in-law. Meanwhile, Su Wentao promptly felt guilty when he saw his wife. He had to admit that he hadn't settled things with his wife yet. But he didn't expect Papa Su to beat him to it. Honey, why are you here? We were just talking about back then. Chapter 388. Honey, you can't say that. Yihong is my child after all. That's right, he is your child. Su Wentao's wife's eyes were misty with tears. And it is precisely because he is your child that we are divorcing. I will hand over the evidence of your adultery with another woman to the police, and you will be kicked out of the family with nothing. Honey, by the way, which one of your shareholders has the surname Wen? I have proof of what you and my husband have done. Did you accept his bribe to frame my brother's family? Everyone was taken aback at those words. It turned out that this director Wen had accepted a bribe from the eldest uncle of the Su family. No wonder he was so eager to drag Papa Su off his high horse. And Su Yihong, that bastard. Did you think that Wentao doesn't care about bloodline and wants anyone? How dare a son of a whore fight for the Su family's property? Do you think it's your turn? Su Yihong's face reddened at that. Su Yihong's assets will definitely be frozen if Wentao files a lawsuit. He's a fraud suspect after all, and Su Wentao's assets will be divided when I divorce him. Are you all out of your minds trying to prop him up? When the directors heard this, they immediately felt bored. They said, if we had known this was a family matter, we wouldn't have had to come here. Scope. You can settle your family matters yourselves. Su Wentao couldn't help narrowing his eyes at that. That whore was ruining his plans at a time like this. The board of directors dispersed, leaving only the Su family in the meeting room, looking at each other in dismay. That was when Su Wentao's wife spoke again. Don't doubt it. Wentao's family and I are on the same side, and we won't rest until you and your father are ruined. Don't forget that the new project is still in my hands. Su Yihong threatened. That. Jing Yun answered Su Yihong. I happen to know some friends and I told the relevant departments that the project is a huge security risk, so the higher-ups ordered us to stop. Su Yihong's face fell at those words. You really are a family. Nice move. Still not admitting that you abandoned me back then? Su Yihong smiled smugly. What? Do you want to thank me for letting you be a dog for the Xing family for so many years? Jing Yun then walked to Su Yihong's side and told him softly, I'll let you know what it's like to be a dog for the rest of your life. Ha. I'm afraid you won't have the chance. Let me tell your Su family a secret. I still have a bomb in Su Holdings. It's still uncertain who will win. You mean, finance department? Yao Yao? Jing Yun asked Su Yihong in return. You really have it easy. Not only did you let someone be your bed partner for years, you even had them help you with falsifying accounts and money laundering. I thought you could really hold the power and marry her. This time Su Yihong really could not smile anymore. He did not expect Jing Yun to investigate the finance department so quickly. Do you know which department of Huang Yao I first entered when I was a dog of the Xing family? It's the finance department you love so much. There are losses, but the law can recover them, And if you don't return the money on your own, you won't have the chance to fight for a reduced sentence. Su Yihong stumbled a few steps back at Jing Yun's words. That was when Su Wentao tugged at Jing Yun and said, "Let's go. Don't listen to their nonsense." "That's right. There's no need to meet in the future. You'll meet the lawyer directly." Papa Su and Mama Su shared a look but said nothing. It was only after Su Yihong and his son left that they asked Jing Yun, "How did you find out about the trader in finance so quickly?" "Where would I have the time to do that? It's just that the lawyer reminded me to clean up Su Holdings' accounts this morning. That's why I took a look, and there were only 3 female employees in the finance department. One was married, the other was pregnant, and the most likely one was Yao Yao, who had always been single. That's why I tricked him. Men are the easiest to clash with for profit, but women are different. Give them love and they would do anything." Papa Su chuckled at that. "You're certainly quick-witted. Although we've gotten rid of those 2, it would take a long time to clean up the mess. You might have to work hard for a while, Father. We'll think of a way to resume the project when this is over." Papa Su clapped Jing Yun on the shoulder and nodded. "Help out with your mother and eldest aunt in the aftermath, or I'm afraid that father and son would do something to harm them." "I understand." Just like that, a chaotic day passed. Even so, the father and son were only chased out of Su Holdings without any other punishment for the time being. Moreover, they might even flee Jianchuan to a faraway land. That was why he had to think of a way to completely cripple them. Xing Minglan was beside herself with worry after the incident. Still, she was relieved after hearing Jing Yun's call. At long last, the storm was over. That night, Jing Yun moved back to the Su residence from Jingting, and made a special call before he left. "It's been dealt with, so I'm bringing Minglan and mother home. Sorry for the trouble, young master. That Su Yihong is still healthy. How is that dealt with?" Xianxia asked in return. "There are some things that must be done, and some people won't be grateful just because you let them go. I understand." That was why Jing Yun made a few calls when Xing Minglan was showering after returning to the Su residence. When Xing Minglan came out of the shower, Jing Yun was staring blankly at her. Xing Minglan was sitting on his lap, her sweet scent wafting through the air as she asked, "You haven't slept well over the last few days because of Su Holdings. Take a good bath tonight and have a good night's sleep." Jing Yun couldn't help hugging Xing Minglan before sighing tiredly. "I might have to do something you hate." Xing Minglan stroked his head and said reassuringly, "I know you're talking about Su Yihong. Just do it." Their eyes met in the darkness and Jing Yun couldn't help kissing her softly. Still, how could that kiss satisfy the 2 of them who hadn't had a good time over the last few days? In the depth of their love, how would they survive the long night if they didn't linger? Soon the news that Su Yihong and Su Wentao were father and son spread throughout Su Holdings, and Jing Yun's performance at the board meeting won the admiration of his subordinates. Chapter 389. But now the Crown Prince's path was a little strange. He had actually given up a vast diamond empire like Huang Yao for Mu Qiqi, abandoning his status as the Crown Prince. Was it all for a love affair? What kind of woman could he not have with such wealth? One could imagine how frightening the charm of the little bride of the Xing family was. Over the last few days, old Xing did as promised and did not bother Xianxia or the Shen family. After all, he was having second brother prepare a grand birthday banquet for him, first to announce Gu Ziling's identity, and second to celebrate 8th brother's return. The Xing family was bustling about for Xing Zhao's sake, which made the others more or less uncomfortable. After all, he was the one who wanted to leave the Xing family and no one forced him. But now the entire Xing family revolved around him. What kind of logic was that? Be that as it may, the Xing family was in turmoil, but the person in question was living comfortably at the Shen family. Since the people he dealt with had changed, Xing Xiao became even more discreet. In other words, he was becoming more black-bellied. Before he would beat you up on the surface, but now he would ignore you on the surface and beat you up behind your back. Of course, Mu Qiqi was still fascinated by Xing Xiao no matter what he was. During dinner at the Shen's house, Grandpa Shen stole a few glances at Xing Xiao while holding his bowl and chopsticks. Then he said, "I had a chat with a few comrades today and they talked about you. The son-in-law of the Shen family is really bold. You've just established Zhongting and you've already secured several important resources. Xing Xiao, you may be outstanding, but you should know that in this circle the bird that sticks out gets shot. There's nothing wrong with being discreet." Xianxia looked at his formal attire and then at his cheer innocently, who quickly put down her chopsticks and told the old man, "Grandpa, I can testify that Xiao is discreet enough. Look, he's even ditching his flashy sports car." The entire family snickered. Now that the Xin family is in the limelight, it's inevitable that someone would try to get hold of us. Grandpa, as long as we act honorably, anyone who dares to challenge my authority can come at us openly or in the shadows. Old Xin did not know much about business, but he could tell from Xing Zhao's expression that the child was a natural genius in that regard. You have to remember what you said today. Otherwise, if you are in trouble in the future, the old man will ignore you. When the matter with the Xing family is settled, I'll bring cheer back to Jingting. Brat, are you complaining that I talk too much? The others smiled again. Although Xianxia was staying with the Xin family, he did not put any pressure on the Xin family. What Huang Yu appreciated the most was that Xianxia did not have the weird habit of being difficult to serve like the other young masters. Other than being particular about Mu Qiqi's affairs, he was not picky about other things. He had his own requirements, but he would never make things difficult for others. After dinner, Xianxia was working in the study, while Mu Qiqi was looking for medical books in his shirt. Jing Yun has settled the matter with the Su family. Really? Mu Qiqi stopped what she was doing and turned to look at him. He was originally supposed to be sitting on the sofa, but before she knew it, he had already walked over to her side. He pressed her against the wall and lifted her chin. "Are you trying to seduce me?" "I just like your scent on my shirt," Mu Qiqi explained. "Such a clingy little thing." With that, Xianxia kissed her. "Looks like it's going to be hard to work today. You still haven't told me how you settled the matter with the Su family. Let's go to bed. We'll talk as we do it." Mu Qiqi could not help struggling. How could she have the ability to think when that happened? The man really felt uncomfortable every day he did not touch her. Meanwhile, the Sheng family had become a little livelier because of the old man's birthday celebration. Even so, Gu Xiling was still a little out of place with the rest of the Sheng family. There was a proud and aloof side to her, which was the conclusion second brother had come to after observing her for some time. "Are you unhappy because my mother didn't take good care of you?" Gu Xiling was drinking alone in the Xing residence's garden when she turned to second brother and explained, "No, Auntie is taking good care of him. But I realized that the Xing family and the Gu family aren't that much better. I heard that the crown prince always has his own residence and never stays with the Xing family, right? He's used to being free and doesn't like being restrained." Second brother replied. Incidentally, it was what she liked. Although she had agreed to the marriage with the Xing family, she did not want to live in the cage that was the Xing family. If she could come to an agreement with Xianxia, she could move out for real. "I heard that the young bride of the Xing family is a forensic student at Xingting University." "Yes. That's what Grandpa is most displeased about." Second brother smiled. "Still, I admire Mu Qiqi's persistence in not changing herself for anyone. Since I can't meet the crown prince in private, could you let me meet Mu Qiqi, second brother? I want to see what kind of girl the crown prince likes." Second brother studied her body for a moment before answering, "You're very beautiful. You don't have to please eighth brother." She was just trying to increase her bargaining chips. "I'm just feeling too stuffy and want to go out for some fresh air." "All right," second brother replied. It was certainly difficult to meet Xianxia, but he still had some ways to meet Mu Qiqi. "I hope Grandpa wouldn't blame me for making the decision on my own when he finds out. Still, I heard that Xiaoqi is working as an assistant in the forensics lab, which is why the place I would meet her might not be that clean." "It's fine," Gu Xiling insisted. "All right. I'll let you know when I've made the arrangements." "Thank you, second brother." Gu Xiling thanked second brother, naturally with a respectful tone. Second brother smiled but said nothing else. "Rest early. I still have to fetch third brother from the airport." "Go ahead." Gu Xiling nodded. Mu Qiqi had been out with the professor over the last few days, which was why she was not just at the forensics lab. Second brother only had to ask around to find out where Mu Qiqi was. This time, someone had found the highly decomposed corpse by the roadside of a highway in the suburbs and called the police. To give Mu Qiqi more training, the professor had brought her to the scene for a preliminary autopsy. Right now, Mu Qiqi insisted on not wearing a mask, since forensics could determine many things others did not know through smell. Even so, the scene was really stinky. Chapter 390. Mu Qiqi promptly stepped forward, wearing white gloves to observe and touch the corpse. There are obvious blunt force wounds on the left side of the head. There are shards of bricks in the wound, and based on the shape of the wound, the murder weapon is a soft stone or brick. There isn't much bleeding. Although the face is pale and the neck groove is obvious, there are no signs of struggle or defense. We can't rule out the possibility of death by hanging after death. Moreover, there are many contusions on the body. We can't determine what tool was used to cause these injuries, and there are no signs of violation. Either way, none of the injuries on the body are fatal, which is why the cause of death has to be further examined. Moreover, the scene is very clean and there are no signs of dragging. This is probably not a crime scene but a place where the body was dumped. That is why we can only get more information from the corpse after further tests. After reading it, the professor nodded and ordered the others to come forward. The other experienced forensic doctors came to a similar conclusion as Mu Qiqi. You're becoming more and more like a forensic doctor. The professor was pleased. You're a quick learner. That's because you've taught me well. Mu Qiqi quickly said. It was also because of this female corpse that Mu Qiqi and the forensics team were searching for useful information at the scene. Meanwhile, Gu Xiling had parked her sports car not far away, pretending to be an onlooker and seeing Mu Qiqi in her white coat. Naturally, she did not miss the part where Mu Qiqi examined the corpse. Still, the corpse was already so disgusting, and yet a girl like her could touch it without batting an eyelid. That alone showed that this girl was not someone ordinary men could control. As expected of a crown prince. Young ladies of noble families and socialites might sound elegant, but they were all soulless porcelain dolls. They were all the same and there was nothing new in comparing family and wealth. But Mu Qiqi was clearly different. That girl is the original bride of the Xing family. Didn't the two families break off the engagement? The Xing family probably can't accept a daughter-in-law working with a dead person. Still, she's only 19. She's really capable. Gu Xiling drove away after hearing the comments about Mu Qiqi. She did not intend to disturb Mu Qiqi. Gu Xiling became even more curious about Xianxia because of Mu Qiqi. The crown prince of the Xing family must not be any ordinary person to have taken a liking to such an interesting and real soul. There was no way Mu Qiqi would know that Gu Xiling had visited her. It was only when she returned to the bureau that she received the news that the victim was likely a young lady from an aristocratic family in Jianchuan. Although she really wanted to see the professor's autopsy to know the real cause of death and the identity of the corpse, she was really busy today. You have to pay special attention too. It's really not safe for girls to go out these days. Junior sister, find some time to learn taekwondo or boxing. Mu Qiqi smiled after hearing the senior's suggestion. I appreciate your kindness, but I really don't need it. Apart from visiting the forensics lab, she rarely went out alone. Xiaoxiao was always by her side. However, after seeing more cases recently, she also understood that in this world, the living were far more terrifying than the dead. For example, a female university student was killed by a taxi driver a few days ago. Mu Qiqi simply could not understand why a girl would sit in the front passenger seat even if she was hailing a taxi. Most girls nowadays did not have that kind of awareness. Soon, the corpse's identity was ascertained. It turned out to be the daughter of one of Huang Yao's business partners. The real cause of death was the rupture of the organs in her abdomen, caused by those contusions. The matter soon spread among the nobles. Naturally, they would spread the fact that a certain person's daughter was gone just like that, and that it was Mu Qiqi who performed the autopsy on her. When old Master Sheng heard about it, he felt very upset. The thought of Mu Qiqi doing such unlucky things and having to deal with corpses every day was revolting. How could he like her? In comparison, the young lady of the Gu family had the air of a true rich young lady. Breaking off the engagement with the Shen family is the best thing I've done. If this goes on, I don't know if I could hold it until my birthday. Second brother was helpless at the old man's huge reaction. It was probably because the older generation would find it hard to accept Mu Qiqi's occupation. Old Shen heard the rumors as well, but his opinion differed from old Sheng's. After all, he only felt sorry for a girl like Mu Qiqi doing things that no man could do. Since Mu Qiqi was adapting well, he was instead proud of his granddaughter after hearing the rumors outside. Before, he had thought that it did not matter if old Xing liked her, and now he had even less reason to be wary of him. Still, the matter was spreading like wildfire. What do you think of Mu Qiqi after visiting her? Second brother could not help asking Gu Xiling in his free time. She seemed to have hidden herself even deeper after arranging for her to meet Mu Qiqi. She doesn't seem to win against me in terms of posture, manners or family background. But she's too special. Gu Xiling answered second brother after some thought. Would you grant them their wish just because of that? No one has ever granted me that wish. Moreover, it was not something she could decide. Perhaps I would have an answer when I meet the crown prince. In second brother's eyes, Gu Xiling was elegant and a little solitary, and would definitely not be happy if she really married eighth brother. Before this, everyone had been guessing what kind of woman Xianxia would like, but they only realized after Mu Qiqi appeared that Xianxia himself could not understand his own preferences. Second brother assumed that Gu Xiling would not try to win him over so easily, since Xianxia and Mu Qiqi were too close. However, after meeting Mu Qiqi, Gu Xiling entered old Sheng's study and told him, "Didn't you ask me who I like to be my husband, Grandpa Sheng?" Old Sheng stared at Gu Xiling, guessing that the child had really taken a liking to second brother. After all, she had made up her mind without even meeting eighth brother. If that was not favoring second brother, what was it? I want to know when the crown prince would return. Old Sheng was taken aback at that but relaxed. After all, Gu Xiling was prepared for eighth brother. Chapter 391. Alright. Since the crown prince has decided to return to the Xing family, I'll tell my parents that I've chosen that man. Gu Xiling replied, looking at the old man. No, Xiling. I'm confused. You've been interacting more with second brother these days. Why, I'll only choose the strongest man. Gu Xiling answered matter-of-factly. If Xianxia returned to the Xing family, it meant that he had given up on Mu Qiqi. And since he had given up on her, she did not have to pity her. After all, Mu Qiqi was so young that she could find any man she wanted. On the other hand, if she was not the young master of the Xing family, she would find a man from another family. As such, it was better for her to choose a man who would never love her. That way she would be free and relaxed. Then I'll announce on that day that the two of you are engaged. Thank you, Grandpa Xing. If Xianxia wanted to keep seeing Mu Qiqi or have children with her, she would treat them as her own. However, she would not give up her safe haven so easily. Even so, why should Mu Qiqi give way to her? Even ordinary women had the right to pursue happiness. What more when Mu Qiqi was the young lady of the great Shen family? The two's plan was a little too brilliant. Outside, second brother and third brother heard their conversation in the study. Second brother's hand, which had been holding the documents, dropped and passed it to third brother. Give these to Grandpa. Second brother. Third brother caught up to second brother. Tell me the truth. Do you like Miss Gu? No matter what my feelings are, Miss Gu has made her choice. Isn't that right, Grandpa? Gu Xiling's declaration that she would only choose the strongest man was like a sharp blade stabbing into second brother's heart. Third brother couldn't bear it and kept chasing after him. Ever since he was young, the one who understands eighth brother the most is not eldest aunt, not grandfather, and definitely not you. It's me. Do you think eighth brother would come back? That has nothing to do with me. With that, second brother promptly left, striding like a shooting star. Third brother took a deep breath, feeling indignant for second brother. Could grandfather not see how hard second brother had worked to maintain the stability of the Xing family after eighth brother left? However, the position of the heir and Miss Gu's marriage were all prepared for Xianxia, which was unfair. Hence, third brother called Xianxia. Eighth brother, it's third brother. I want to see you. Xianxia smirked. It seemed that his third brother was here to deliver a message. Tell me the place, I'll come find you. Are you still living in the Shen family? He was a live-in son-in-law. If he did not live in the Shen family, where would he live? Forget it, 8 o'clock tonight, Empire Hotel. Let me make it clear first. I'm broke and I bring my family here to freeload. Whatever. Third brother's temper was not as steady as second brother's. He was a little impatient, but he had a sense of justice. Right now the Xing family was counting on those two. At 7:30, third brother could not help being stunned when he saw Mu Qiqi at the hotel. Even if you're down and out now, you don't have to be so discreet, do you? You've never worn such formal clothes before. Have you changed? Xianxia pulled out a chair for Mu Qiqi to take a seat before introducing, this is third brother. And this is Mu Qiqi. Alright, I'm getting calluses in my ears because of what happened to you. Third brother sighed helplessly. But did you know, eighth brother? Even if you're like this, grandfather would still leave you with the position of heir to the Xing family, and Xiao glanced at Xiaoter at that before answering third brother. Because he knows very well that I could make Huang Yao grow to its greatest height in the shortest time possible. And you're still thinking about the Gu family's marriage, aren't you? What do you mean he's giving me the best if it's not what I want? I'm just a tool for him and he only wants Huang Yao. I just want to know, will you come back for grandfather's birthday? That Miss Gu is staying in our house, and second brother and I heard with our own eyes that she chose you. That's why grandfather is planning to settle the marriage between you and Miss Gu during the birthday celebration. What do you think? Xiao laughed heartily at those words. I only said that I would give him an explanation. When did I say that I'm going back to the Xing family? Don't I know you? Why would grandfather think that if you didn't deliberately lead him? Xiao looked at the red wine in front of him and took a sip elegantly before continuing with a smile. Well, let him think so. What are you going to do? Although second brother doesn't say it, I can feel that he's already upset and he seems to like that Miss Gu. I have nothing to tell you now, but there's one thing I'm sure of. I'll never step through the gates of the Xing family for the rest of my life. Even if it's like this with nothing? Yes, even if it's like this with nothing. If you really care for second brother, don't mention a word about our meeting today to the Xing family, and act as if you don't know anything. That was what third brother had guessed. I didn't know that you hate grandfather so much. Yes. So much that I don't want to hear about him for the rest of my life. That said, I've heard a lot about you recently. Didn't you perform a ritual on that poor business partner's daughter? The old man's face darkened when he heard about it. I've never seen him look so terrible. Third brother teased. You two treasures, you've tortured me so much. Since you're sure that you won't return to the Xing family, I'll do everything I can to help second brother and set him up with Miss Gu. Good luck. Xiao said calmly. Don't make too much of a fuss on grandfather's birthday since you're getting old. Could he flaunt his seniority just because he was old? As for that Miss Gu, she could not get what she wanted. Why would she want to tear others apart? Could it be that she couldn't see others happy just because she was unlucky? That said, could you show me your knife skills, little sister-in-law? Third brother deeply admired those callous professions. I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to eat if I really cut it. Mu Chichi joked. I'll do my best to give you face. Mu Chichi snorted and nodded, at least fulfilling one of third brother's wishes. Chapter 392. Despite the old man's deep-rooted prejudice, third brother really admired a girl like Mu Chichi. After all, other socialites were studying the four arts, while she was thinking about how to dismember corpses. How cool was that? Whatever the case, third brother could not hate Mu Chichi. Perhaps because the two of them had something in common. They were naturally optimistic. The trio had a simple dinner that night, but before they left, third brother stuffed a gold card into Xiao's hand. Even if you're willing to be a live-in son-in-law, don't let the Xin family bully you. Consider this a little treasury I'm giving you. Xiao raised a brow. Did he really take it seriously? What you have isn't even enough for me to buy a season's worth of clothes for Qi. Oh. Eighth brother, can't you be a little more frugal now that you're in such dire straits? Xiao smiled meaningfully and answered third brother. Keep it for yourself. You could use it when you marry sister-in-law. You're still complaining. You deserve to die of poverty. My temper really can't stand how prideful you are. Xiao clapped him on the shoulder nonchalantly. Third brother really thinks of you as a brother if he knows to save you, and yet you're hitting him. On the way back, Mu Chichi could not help nagging at Xiao. Xiao, it's quite pitiful that you're so poor now. What a reckless little thing. Her husband was not poor, all right? Though he had left Huang Yao, Zhongting had risen to prominence. Moreover, his supporters were no longer businessmen but people with status and were easy to get things done. At first, I thought that Miss Gu was quite pitiful because she was forced by her family. But now, I suddenly feel that there's something hateful about her too. What? Are you afraid that she'll steal your man? Do I have to give it to her if she does? Mu Chichi retorted matter-of-factly. Unless you don't want me anymore, anyone could try to steal you from me. Xiao felt very pleased at that. He did not dote on her for nothing. Still, you really need to hurry up on your relationship with the Xing family so that second brother can fully open his arms. What's the hurry? It's just 10 days. With those words Xianxia sped home. As expected, third brother did not tell anyone about his meeting with Xianxia, including second brother whom he wanted to help. Since Xianxia had decided to cut ties with the Xing family, he would definitely make a big move at Grandpa Xing's birthday banquet to make Grandpa Xing give up completely. Therefore he couldn't tell her, not even to his second brother. Be that as it may, third brother happened to run into the Gu family having dinner at home when he reached home. And judging from the Gu family's attitude, they must have come to confirm Gu Xiling and Xing Zhao's marriage. Just as eighth brother had said, the old master had been using him as a bargaining chip from the beginning to the end. Third bro, where have you been this late at night? You don't even know how to call for help. It's fine, old Xing. I'll leave Xiling's matter to you. I hope you can handle it well and don't let our Xiling suffer. Mama Gu told old Xing. Don't worry, in-law. Now that Xiling has entered the Xing family, she is the only granddaughter-in-law I'll acknowledge. But what if the crown prince doesn't come back? Don't worry. He has promised to give me an answer, and it's clear that he isn't used to living a life without power or influence. Think about it. Would a rich young master really lower himself to become a son-in-law of the Xin family? Or a member of the Xin family? Grandpa Xing's answer was firm and without a hint of hesitation. He really didn't understand eighth brother. Third brother shook his head. Then he looked at second brother's expression. There was no change at all from beginning to end, and there was no telling how upset he must be. Eighth brother isn't the only one in the family. You should take care of us too, grandfather. The old man did a double take and glared at third brother. Third brother was nonchalant, but he especially noticed that the young lady of the Gu family was cold and conceited. He was starting to wonder if he should help his second brother matchmake the two of them. She clearly knew that eighth brother already had a lover, and yet she insisted on choosing him. There was no telling what she was thinking. That was why the young lady of the Gu family was nothing but trash before Xiaoqi. No matter how excellent she thought herself to be. There's only 10 days left. Just bear with it for now. 10 days was enough for eighth brother to stir up a lot of trouble. After dinner, third brother did not want second brother to suffer in the living room and dragged him out. Don't you feel bad looking at that young lady of the Gu family? But I feel bad. I feel bad holding it in. She didn't offend you. Second brother, which part of you doesn't deserve her? Feelings can't be forced. Well, I'll take you out and introduce you to a few sensible ones. Third brother suggested. Second brother pushed him away and returned to his room. In truth, he knew very well that Gu Xiling was a proud and aloof person, but there were many factors that combined to push him into a dead end. 10 days was it? When eighth brother returned, he could leave the country again. When that happens, he would no longer have to care about the Xing family, nor would he have to work so hard without anyone seeing or being grateful. Perhaps in the eyes of the Xing family, Xianxia really had nothing now. Late at night, Grandpa Xing called Mama Xing and asked her to come home with him, so that she could truly witness her son's happiness. Mama Xing was displeased at that. Could eighth brother be breaking up with Mu Qiqi because he couldn't handle the pressure? Father, that young lady of the Gu family is the daughter-in-law you'd like, not us. I don't think we should come back and spoil your mood. You really don't know what's good for you. The old man hung up angrily. Could it be that his daughter-in-law was still thinking about Mu Qiqi? What kind of spell had Mu Qiqi fed her? Unable to figure it out, Mama Xing promptly called Xianxia for confirmation. I heard that you're getting engaged to the young lady of the Gu family again? Did the old man say that? Xianxia asked innocently. He wouldn't have told me if he wasn't sure, so that I could come back and witness your true happiness. Mom, you could definitely come back for the old man's birthday banquet in 10 days. It was clear from her son's words that there was something else going on. I won't forgive you for the rest of my life if you let Xiaoqi down. Xianxia frowned slightly at that and turned to look at the little one lying on the bed. Who was the biological one here? Xiao, what are you mumbling about? Time to sleep. Mu Qiqi murmured with her eyes closed as if she could hear Xianxia talking on the phone. Xianxiao's heart softened at that. Chapter 393. Everything related to the Su family would go through the legal process. Meanwhile, Su Yihong and his father were sued by Papa Su for fraud. Still, Jing Yun did not do anything to Su Yihong before he was taken into custody, and merely had someone keep an eye on him to prevent the father and son from escaping. Surprisingly, however, Su Yihong did not try to escape. Perhaps he knew that he could not escape even if he had wings. Still, he refused to answer any of the police's questions in the detention center, unless he could see Jing Yun. I wonder what he wants from you. Is he up to something? Xing Minglan was a little worried. He can't do anything in the police station. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. Jing Yun assured her. Xing Minglan nodded but still reminded him, be careful. Jing Yun had assumed that Su Yihong would struggle over the matter since there was still room for it. Even if he did not struggle, he would still try to escape. And yet he stayed willingly? Jing Yun was puzzled until he saw Su Yihong in the detention center. Shackled and with his head lowered, Su Yihong smiled when he saw Jing Yun. It's good to see you again. Tell me why you would risk your life to see me. Jing Yun cut to the chase, not wanting to waste time on Su Yihong. I shouldn't have been so soft-hearted and abandoned you. Su Yihong kept smiling but soon started crying again. If I had cut the weeds and cut the roots, none of this would have happened. If that's all you want to tell me, I'm leaving. Yao Yao is pregnant, my child. If you could save the child, I would willingly tell you everything I've done over the years. Su Yihong said to Jing Yun's back. Although I've been using Yao Yao all along, it's only when I've truly fallen that I realize that only that foolish woman would do anything for me. She wants to give birth to the child, which is why I need your help. Help you raise the child so that he could take revenge on me? Jing Yun turned and asked Su Yihong in return. Don't let him know that he has a father like me. I could pay for your real brother's death with my own mother's abuse. Jing Yun had already guessed that. I will save the child, but don't forget your promise. As long as the child is born, you will get what you want. Jing Yun didn't say anything else. He didn't want Su Yihong to die either. He just wanted Su Yihong to live a life worse than death. And let the police come in. Jing Yun did not expect Su Yihong to have a shred of humanity left in him. Of course, Jing Yun wouldn't believe Su Yihong's words so easily. Naturally, he would carry out multiple investigations to ascertain the truth. He could ensure the birth of Su Yihong's child, but he would never provide it with a privileged life. Several days passed in a short period of time. Old Sheng's birthday banquet was just around the corner. To ensure that nothing would happen to Xianxia, Old Sheng called Xianxia 2 days before the birthday banquet. It was a reminder to him. You haven't forgotten our promise, have you? Have you settled your personal affairs? Of course not, Xianxia replied. That's good. Grandpa will wait for you. Xianxia said nothing else and simply hung up. He had arranged to play golf with Secretary He today, which was why he was at the golf course at the moment. Secretary He chuckled when he saw that Xianxia had finished his private call. I heard that something big is going to happen to the Sheng family in 2 days. Shouldn't you return as the heir? I've heard about it too, Secretary He. Xianxia smiled and stood beside Secretary He. Xianxia, you are now half an insider. There are many things you need to learn to keep a low profile. Since you are the CEO of Zhongting, why would you care about being the heir of Huang Yao? Am I right? You really do have a pair of sharp eyes, Secretary He. Young man, how could I not know what you're working so hard for? It's only when your life is in your own hands that you wouldn't have lived in vain. Take care of the Xing family well and don't make it too ugly. Xianxia smiled nonchalantly. On the day before Old Sheng's birthday banquet, Gu Xiling suddenly suggested to the old man, since the crown prince would be there tomorrow anyway, why don't we have him return to the Xing family tonight? That way I could get to know him better and it wouldn't be too awkward for you, Grandpa Xing. Old Sheng thought that Gu Xiling's suggestion was not wrong. Since he was going home anyway, what did it matter if it was a day earlier or a day later? Grandpa, you seem to have forgotten that you've already removed 8th brother's room. 6th brother reminded the old man just in time, because he really did not want to see Xianxia return home. How could Grandpa not think of that 6th brother? He has already restored 8th brother's room to its original state. 3rd brother retorted. That's why your worry is unnecessary. That's good. Since the whole family revolves around 8th brother, wouldn't the whole family be upset if he doesn't come home comfortably? Those words left a sour taste in 6th brother's mouth. Therefore, old Xing ignored him and told 2nd brother, you and 3rd brother, go to the Shin's residence and bring 8th brother home. I'll go, Grandpa. 2nd brother has things to do. 3rd brother said. That works too. I'll go with you. Gu Xiling turned to 3rd brother. Miscudo. No one knows eighth brother's temper, and I wouldn't be able to explain if he doesn't come home when he sees you. Third brother said sarcastically and strode out of the Xing family's living room. He did not like Gu Xiling, and it was not just in his face but in his words as well. And the reason third brother accepted the task was because he knew that eighth brother would never do as the old man wished. That was why he was going with a luxurious convoy, but he knew very well that eighth brother would not simply listen to his orders. The Xin family soon found third brother's convoy outside and informed Huang Yu. At that, Huang Yu went to Mu Qiqi's room. Eighth brother isn't home yet? He's playing golf with secretary He. He's on the way home. What's the matter, second aunt? The Xing family has sent someone to fetch eighth brother, and the convoy is waiting outside. Do as you see fit. Huang Yu clapped Mu Qiqi on the shoulder. After all, tomorrow was a major event for the Xing family. Chapter 394. Got it, second aunt. Mu Qiqi nodded and rose to her feet. She went to the Xin's residence and greeted third brother when she found him leaning against the car door. It's already so late. Still out on a mission? Is eighth brother around? He's not back yet. Mu Qiqi replied. But he'll be back soon. What, are you in a hurry to bring Xiao home tonight? Third brother waved her off. Leaning against the car door with a bottle of red wine, he was enjoying himself. How could I bring him away? Till he's broke now. Why would he be out in the middle of the night? Mu Qiqi couldn't help laughing at that. What are you laughing at? Is Xiao really that lazy in third brother's eyes? Mu Qiqi retorted. Third brother was puzzled and raised a brow at Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi did a double take before turning to third brother. Have you heard of Zhongting, third brother? Third brother thought about it and nodded. I've heard of it. It's a newly established military company. Then why do you still think that Xiao is broke? Third brother did a double take at Mu Qiqi's words, and only pointed at her after a moment. Did eighth brother set it up? To be precise, my father and Xiao did it together. Third brother sneered as if understanding something. No wonder eighth brother is so sure that he won't return to the Xing family. He's actually setting up his own business, but keeping a low profile isn't his style. Xiao said that you're trustworthy, third brother, which is why I'm not afraid to tell you. The business partners he's working with now aren't ordinary people, and they don't like him being in the limelight. Third brother was pleased with the first half of Mu Qiqi's words. He was very pleased that eighth brother found him trustworthy. Poor old Xing. He wanted him to return and inherit Huang Yao, but he didn't expect that he wouldn't even care for what little Huang Yao has left. The old man even thought that eighth brother treasures his inheritance. Soon Su Che drove him back to the Xin's residence. When Xianxia saw that Chia was with third brother, he told Su Che to go home and went to them. Are you having a drink in the Xin's territory? You're quite carefree. Third brother turned to Xianxia and smiled. Eighth brother, you've hidden yourself too well. Now that the old man has sent me to fetch you, what do you think we should do? Xianxia looked at Mu Qiqi. Seeing that she came out in a white sweater, he took off his coat and put it on her. Go in if you're cold. That's not necessary. I want to know what you plan to do tomorrow. Mu Qiqi looked at him and crossed her arms. Is it necessary to hide it from me? It's not that I want to hide it from you. I just don't want you to see the faces of the Xing family. Xianxia stroked her head. Go in. My face is very good. Third brother couldn't help interrupting. No, eighth brother, I think you should go back to the Xing family tonight. Do you know how much I want to see you reject Miss Gu? Second brother likes this woman, but she's trying her best to separate you and little sister-in-law. Little sister-in-law, can you lend eighth brother to me tonight? I promise I'll return him in one piece tomorrow. Look, I can't explain myself if eighth brother doesn't go back with me, right? I know you've said that you don't want to step foot into the Xing family again. But if you leave the Xing family for good, don't you want them to give up on you? I know you're worried about little sister-in-law. So bring her along. Mu Qiqi was stunned at that and pointed at her own nose. I don't want to see the Xing family. You don't have to. You're coming with us and I'll hide you in eighth brother's room. Third brother said. Eighth brother, I know very well that you are the CEO of Zhongting now. You do what you have to do tomorrow. I'll just be in charge and make sure nothing goes wrong. What do you say? The old man would never hand over his burden to anyone else if you don't sever ties with him completely. Third brother was trying to move her emotionally and rationally, his words full of temptation. What do you think, Chi-er? The man was the most cunning of them all. He would always leave the decision to her. Are you sure we'll come out unscathed? Xianxia replied calmly, lowering his head to look at the watch on his wrist. Su Che has already made all the necessary arrangements. But since third brother is coming to fetch us, I'll have to bring forward the plan. Mu Qiqi nodded. Since that's what you want to do, just do it. In fact, I also want to see how different Miss Gu is from ordinary people. Why talk so much then? Get in. In no time at all, old Xing received a call from third brother. Eighth brother was already on his way back. It seemed that he had really severed ties with the Shen family. He knew it. Why would the great crown prince of Huang Yao be willing to become a son-in-law who married into the Shen family? How could Xianxia tolerate that with his temper? Old Xing was so happy that he immediately told everyone the news. Eighth brother will be home in 20 minutes. Get ready. Old Six snorted coldly. He had thought that Old Three would return in defeat if he went to receive it. He did not expect that eighth brother would only have such a temper. Soon the car pulled into the Xing family's parking lot. Third brother told Mu Qiqi, I'll have someone bring you to eighth brother's room right away. Change your clothes and pretend to be a servant. I'll arrange for you to stand far away if you want to watch the show, or wait in eighth brother's room if you don't want to. I'm just here to watch the show. Mu Qiqi quickly said. Xianxia pinched his little one's nose. Did she really like watching him tear a bitch apart that much? Although helpless, Xianxia agreed to let his little one dress up. You'll be in charge of her safety. What's wrong with that? I'll come out after I go in with you to settle little sister-in-law down. Xianxia nodded and got out of the car. Still, he found the familiar house very strange. Old Xing wanted to use him, which was why he had pushed him to the highest position. But what about the others in the Xing family? They looked one way in front of others and another behind the scenes. He was already tired of such a life. That was why he only wanted to create a future for his little one that no one would dare to offend. Go in. Third brother knew what Xianxia was thinking and so reminded him, this is the last time. Think of it as giving face to third brother. I won't mention your identity to anyone else. Meanwhile, old Xing had led the Xing family to the door to welcome them. Eighth brother, you finally know to come home. Chapter 395. But before sixth brother could say anything, Xianxia strode into the Xing family's living room as usual. Mu Qiqi had seen everything from inside the car, and finally understood why Xianxia insisted on leaving the Xing family. Although he appeared to be the crown prince of the Xing family, none of the Xing family members around him were sincere. They relied on him, used him, mocked him, and even schemed against him. Everyone knew that Xianxia was powerful, but none knew that the crown prince of Huang Yao was a man of flesh and blood. Come out, little sister. I'll take you to change. Third brother quickly said. Meanwhile, the entire Xing family had returned to the living room. However, the old man did not let Gu Xiling show herself to maintain a sense of mystery, which was to give Xianxia a little mystery and surprise. Eighth brother, I thought you were serious this time. I didn't expect that it's still your trick to torture me. I thought that you would learn your lesson from seventh sister, sixth brother. Why is your mouth still so annoying? Xianxia retorted. Didn't you dump Mu Qiqi even though you care about her so much? Because she's not as important as your position as the crown prince. Why would you pretend to be a good person in front of me? Sixth brother. It was taboo for old Xing to hear Mu Qiqi's name now. Eighth brother finally came back. If you piss him off again, you'd better get out of here too. Sixth brother was upset but turned away and said nothing else. Xianxia did not explain either. What's wrong with that? Either way, sixth brother would see how good I am, wouldn't he? Don't say things that hurt family ties now that you're back. Don't mention anything about Mu Qiqi in the family, and you haven't met the young lady of the Gu family, have you? You could meet her today. That's the highlight, isn't it? Xianxia leaned back on the sofa and did not refuse. Still, he raised a brow when he looked up to find a familiar figure standing upstairs. He did not expect that Cheer looked good in a white coat and looked quite different in servant clothes. He would let her show him alone in the future. As a matter of fact, Gu Xiling had been upstairs watching Xianxia for a long time. This man was really dangerous. He was like a fully armed monster full of uncertainty. He was indeed as arrogant as the rumors said. Looking at his eyes, he should also be decisive and ruthless enough. Sure enough, a good man placed in a group of men would have his own special points. Gu Xiling curled her lips. She was satisfied with this man. Soon the butler came upstairs and asked Gu Xiling to go downstairs. She was also prepared to meet Xianxia, so she naturally dressed up nicely. Wuxia looked at Gu Xiling from different angles and suddenly found the woman familiar. Soon Gu Xiling came downstairs and approached everyone while old Xing promptly smiled at Xianxia. This is an important guest of the Xing family. Come and get acquainted. He looked up at Gu Xiling. She was indeed beautiful, but she was not as seductive as Xiaoqi upstairs. Gu Xiling was arrogant, so she would not take the initiative to show goodwill. Grandpa Xing glanced at Gu Xiling and said to Xianxia, "Why aren't you moving? This is Xiling." In other words, he was reminding Xianxia to take the initiative. Sensing the little one's gaze upstairs, Xianxia did not do as the old man wished. "Grandfather, do you know how seventh sister offended me in the beginning?" The old man's face darkened. After all, Xianxia was hinting that he would do something lowly like seventh sister. The night before Qir and I were about to get engaged, Sister Seven sent her friend to my room. How unfortunate to see such a scene today. Do you really think that I lack women? What nonsense are you talking about? Or is there something good in the family? For example, you're remarrying grandfather? Well, I'll have to congratulate you. Grandpa Xing promptly turned to Gu Xiling, only to find her telling Xianxia, "The crown prince must have misunderstood me. Have you forgotten your ex-boyfriend so quickly?" Xianxia asked in return, his gaze unusually sharp. Gu Xiling really did not expect that Xianxia would be so unscrupulous about such things. Why did he always appear so open and bold? "I'll forget." "You might forget your favorite, but I don't intend to forget my Xiaoqi." Xianxiao's tone was matter-of-fact, and he added when he saw Gu Xiling's expression turn sour. "You seem nervous, Miss Gu. What, are you afraid of me?" Of course she was afraid of his mouth. "Eighth brother, how could you embarrass Miss Gu in front of so many people?" Grandpa Xing quickly stepped forward to stop them from continuing their conversation. "I've always been like this. Is this the first day you met me?" Xianxia appeared dangerous and cynical. "Do you know? I'm going to announce tomorrow." "Announce what?" The old man paused halfway through his sentence. He had wanted to say that he would announce Xianxia and Gu Xiling's engagement tomorrow, but given Xianxiao's temper, he would definitely be reluctant if he knew about it in advance. With that being the case, it was better to leave the main event for tomorrow. "Since you're back, we'll talk about it later. There's always a chance. Eighth brother, since you're back, I'll take it that you've chosen Huang Yao and the Xing family. Don't mention Wuxia again since your identities are different." "Do you mean there's no difference between Miss Gu and me?" "Miss Gu is a guest. You have to take good care of her. Don't target others like this. Miss Gu is so cold. She shouldn't be afraid of me targeting her." Xianxia smiled playfully. "Things seem to be fun. I'm suddenly looking forward to tomorrow. Go back to your room and rest. Come back to work in Huang Yao from the day after tomorrow. And second brother, go to eighth brother's room for the handover." "No need," Xianxia quickly said. "We'll talk about it the day after tomorrow." Since Xianxia was back, Grandpa Xing did not think that Xianxia would leave, which was why he was not in a hurry. And looking at Xianxiao's plain attire, he knew that he must have been looked down upon by the Shen family. Be a good crown prince of Huang Yao. There are some things you can't force, and those ill-fated relationships should be severed. Celebrate Grandpa's birthday tomorrow. Chapter 396. The old man flashed a rare smile at Xianxiao's words. Xianxia did not say anything else. He simply glanced upstairs, but the corridor was empty. Xianxia returned to his familiar room and saw Wuxia taking off her clothes. He quickly reached out to stop her. "I haven't seen enough." Wuxia was taken aback. She glared at Xianxia. "You like this dress?" "No, I like you." Xianxia lifted Wuxia's chin. "You can wear it for me when we get home tomorrow. You don't have to wear underwear." Wuxia blushed at once. Just the thought of that scene was enough to make her explode. She had thought that Xianxia did not like women to be too exposed. But, you always surprise me. There's something on the table that the old man gave you. Go and have a look. Xianxia tilted his head and saw the documents on the table. It was the shares he had given away before. Now it was back in his hands. Xianxia did not think much about it. He called Su Che and asked him to make the necessary arrangements. Tomorrow would be even more fun. Mu Qiqi changed and walked to Xianxia. She sat on his lap. Why did you call Su Che? Of course. Tomorrow's show will be more exciting. Xianxia replied. What do you want? To make the old man hate me to the bone. Mu Qiqi became serious at Xianxia's words. Do you really have to pay such a big price to be with me? I would do it tomorrow even without you. Because he would not let anyone control his life. It was only a matter of time before his relationship with the old man reached this point. Mu Qiqi had to admit that the old man was greedy, snobbish, stubborn and dictatorial. He treated his children and grandchildren as playthings and chess pieces. Others could live a painful life under his control. But that person would never include him. Mu Qiqi thought about it. In the end she held Xianxiao's hand gently. From the day I fell in love with you I chose a path to advance and retreat with you. So, no matter what you do tomorrow I will bear the consequences with you. Silly thing. Xianxia held Mu Qiqi's hand. Their fingers intertwined. Tomorrow was destined to be a lively day. The next morning, third brother knocked on Xianxiao's door. He had prepared breakfast for Mu Qiqi in advance. I'm afraid that my little sister-in-law won't have breakfast. How is it? Am I considerate? Third brother asked Xianxia excitedly. However, Xianxia could not be bothered with him. Eighth brother, today is Grandpa's big day and you're dressed like this? He was wearing a very formal black suit and white shirt. He didn't look as flashy as he used to and he didn't look as dangerous and cynical. Take good care of Cheer later. What are you going to do today? At the moment, third brother was very curious about Xianxia. Grandpa is going to introduce Miss Gu to the guests soon. Can you sit still? You just have to watch what I want to do. There's no need to say anything else. Third brother had come to test him because he was uncertain, but he did not expect Xianxia to be so secretive. Even Mu Qiqi could only watch helplessly at third brother. All right. I'll be in charge of little sister-in-law's safety later, but don't go too far. Meanwhile, the Xing family's mansion was a scene of luxury. To celebrate his birthday well, old Xing had second brother build a banquet hall that resembled a forest on the Xing family's golf course. And when the guests arrived they were all resting in the palace. Everyone from the Xing family was dressed to the nines, with the Xing brothers each more elegant than the last. The outside world had received word that Xianxia had returned from the Xing family. It appeared that the crown prince had come to his senses, and left the embrace of a beauty to regain his authority in Huangyao. As expected, men have always loved power. I see that the young masters of the Xing family are here, but the crown prince is nowhere to be seen. I wonder if the rumors are true. It's true. Third brother came to the Xing family to fetch the crown prince last night, and the news that the Xing family could not keep the crown prince is spreading like wildfire. If that's really the case and the crown prince has broken up with the young lady of the Xing family, who would want to be with the young lady of the Xing family after what happened between them? Well, the crown prince already has a ready-made Miss Gu. Isn't he? He was madly in love with her yesterday, and now he's someone else's fiancé. If I were a Xin, I would never forgive the Xing family. Right now, the hottest topic among the guests was the matter between Xianxia and Mu Qiqi. It had been an entire morning, but Xianxia was nowhere to be seen. What game was the crown prince playing? A moment later, Gu Xiling, who was dressed to the nines, walked into the crowd. She was wearing a long red dress like a red rose blooming in a green fairyland, so flirtatious, so dazzling. This was probably the legendary fairy-like beauty with fair skin like a fairy. Old Xing was wearing a white suit and a red bow tie, and it appeared that he was deliberately accommodating Gu Xiling's outfit. In fact, it was to tell the guests how much he valued Gu Xiling. As the old man weaved among the guests, chatting casually with them, it was then that Xianxia appeared before them in a black suit. Old Xing frowned when he saw that his grandson was still wearing yesterday's clothes. Although it did not hurt Xingxiao's impressive figure and aura, he had the feeling that Xianxia was not such a low-key person before. Could it be that he had learned this much during his time at the Xin family? Look, the crown prince is coming out. So he really broke up with Muqiqi and returned to the Xing family. What a shame. I thought he was different from other men, but he's actually a real scumbag. Pretending not to hear those comments, old Xing walked up to Xianxia and told him, "Introduce Xiling to the guests." "I don't have time." Xianxia stood among the crowd, but he was not looking for Gu Xiling. Instead he was looking for Muqiqi. It was a grievance to have a little thing pretend to be a servant. "Where's Xiling? What are you looking for?" Xianxia ignored Grandpa Xing's words and headed straight in another direction. Grandpa Xing's expression was a little ugly. He thought to himself that he should announce this matter as soon as possible. Chapter 397. Seizing that moment, Xianxia saw Su Che at the back of the crowd. Third brother had brought him in. "Chief Xing, everything is ready." Su Che whispered into Xiao's ear when he saw him. "Take care of Cheer's safety." Xiao told Su Che. "Understood." Su Che quickly found Muqiqi's position when he received the message and went to protect his wife. Meanwhile, Muqiqi had found the best spot to watch. She wanted to know how Xiao would sever all ties with the Xing family today. Still, deep in her heart she did not want Xiao to have no family at all. Still, when she thought about it, it would be better if he did not have any family. When the old man saw that almost all the guests had arrived and everyone was laughing and joking, he took Gu Xiling's hand and walked to the most eye-catching spot, ready to announce the engagement between Gu Xiling and Xiao. "Everyone, I am very honored to be able to meet all of you today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend my birthday banquet, and I hope that everything goes well for you." The guests' gazes were promptly drawn to old Xing. On this beautiful day, this old man is not only going to spend a beautiful day with everyone. More importantly, I believe everyone has seen that my grandson Xiao has returned to the Xing family. I am very pleased that he has repented from the wrong path. That is how family is. Blood is thicker than water and we should never give up. That is why I would like to announce two things on such an occasion today. The first is that my grandson Xiao would continue to lead Huang Yao to a more glorious path. As for the second, old Xing turned to Gu Xiling beside him. "I intend to have Xiling and..." But before Grandpa Xing could finish his words, a group of people in suits entered the Xing family's home with work tags hanging on their necks. Old Xing looked at the butler in confusion, who explained, "Master, they say that they are in charge of a charity organization." "Charity organization? What are they here for?" "Well, we have received a donation from Mr. Xiao, which is why we are here to sign a contract." The other party answered. "I'm sorry. I really didn't know it was your birthday banquet. Sorry for disturbing you." Eighth brother, Xiao stepped out from the crowd of guests and went up to the staff. He reached out to take the donation agreement and wrote his name on it without checking it carefully. At the same time, he looked up at the old man with a meaningful smile. "I thank Mr. Xiao for your gift and support on behalf of those patients with serious illnesses." "You're welcome. My assistant will deal with the follow-up procedures later. You can leave now." "All right, sorry to bother you." Then the man left. Meanwhile, Grandpa Xing looked at Xiao in confusion. "Why do you want to do charity today?" "To accumulate good karma for you." Xiao smiled. "Moreover, this is only 10% of Huang Yao's shares. It shouldn't be much, right?" The old man was stunned. "What did you say?" Second brother and sixth brother, noticing that the atmosphere wasn't right, quickly went up to the old man and held him up. "Eighth brother, are you kidding me? I still have some left. I wonder if there's anyone here who's interested." Xiao put his hands in his trouser pockets, looking very much like a playboy. "Eighth brother." Grandpa Xing pointed at Xiao, his fingers shaking. "Are you satisfied with pissing me off? Since you've returned my shares, what's wrong with me selling them?" Xiao asked in return. "Or are you saying that you didn't really intend to give them to me in the first place?" Everyone was suddenly puzzled at the scene before them. What was Xiao trying to do? After all, he had just donated 10% of Huang Yao's shares. What did that mean? Did he not intend to return to the Xing family at all? "You gave me shares and I donated mine. Is that wrong? Are you trying to take revenge on the Xing family, eighth brother? Grandpa has been so good to you, arranging everything for you. Do you understand now?" Xiao asked second brother in return. Just because all of you enjoy his kindness doesn't mean I'm a masochist who likes a life arranged for me. By the way, wasn't the old man about to announce something important just now? You can say it now. Grandpa Xing was shaking all over. Would he dare to hand Gu Xiling over to Xianxia now? Eighth brother, don't you know that you're completely disappointing me like this? I never knew that you had a heart. Xianxia replied almost coldly. Well, since it's your birthday today, we should make our guests happy. Why don't we play a game together? Any guest who can challenge me would get 1% of Huang Yao's shares. Grandpa Xing yelled angrily. Would you rather be the Shen family's watchdog than the Xing family? It seems that you really want to lose everything. Don't forget that your surname is Xing, and that the Xing family has given you all wealth and status. Aren't you afraid of being struck by lightning for treating your grandfather like this today? No wonder you said you weren't in a hurry when you were asked to take over second brother's files. But you never intended to return to Huang Yao in the first place, did you? Is the Shen family so good that you would stick to them like a dog? Don't you know that I was about to get you engaged to Miss Gu and leave the best for you? But what about you? Are you even human? Weren't you the one who asked me to return to the Xing family? Since you want me to return, you should deal with things my way. What's wrong with me giving you my shares? I wouldn't refuse if you want me to return to Huang Yao, but I never said that I would lead Huang Yao in a good direction. You think that the Xing family created me and gave me power and wealth? I'm standing here today and you can take my life anytime you want. Isn't that what you want? That's the fun you get when you control me. Grandpa Xing's face was flushed with rage and his breathing was ragged. The guests present were really afraid that the old man would collapse if he took things too hard. It's all because of Mu Qiqi. Chapter 398. The old man felt a pang in his chest at those words. It seems that our family's fate has come to an end today. You don't want Huang Yao, the Xing family, or your family. I can grant you all that, but don't you ever come begging me on your knees again. I would never let you return to the Xing family. You want to sever all ties with the Xing family, don't you? You would rather be the Shen family's powerless, poor son-in-law who idles about? I'll grant you your wish. Everyone here has seen that it was Xianxia who gave up everything he had today, disdaining to be a scion of the Xing family. I won't force him. From this day forth, Xianxia's name is officially removed from the Xing family. He would no longer have a place in Huang Yao, and my inheritance would have nothing to do with him. The Xing family should just assume that he is dead, and that would be neat and tidy. As for the person in charge of Huang Yao, I will now officially hand it over to my second grandson Shen Kai and have him get engaged to Miss Gu as soon as possible. Even if you don't care for it, someone else would. I hope that every guest here could bear witness that Xianxia has betrayed the Xing family today, and would be cursed and blacklisted by the Xing family for all eternity. From now on, if Xianxia seeks employment from any of you, I implore all of you to remember his face today, and to see if such a person is worth hiring with a high salary. Xianxia's dark eyes held infinite meaning. Was the old man calling for all the nobles of Jianchuan to encircle him? So it did not matter. Since things had come to this, he had long since expected such an outcome. The other Xing family members looked at Xianxia in pity, believing that he had been blinded by greed and was willing to give up all of Huang Yao for Mu Qiqi. They were even more pitiful because the old man's words meant that Xianxia's position as crown prince would no longer exist. The scions of the aristocratic families he had offended and the young masters of the rich families he had humiliated would all turn against him for vengeance. Even so, did that not matter? Third brother was the only one who stared impassively at Xianxia. Of course, there was still some mockery hidden in his heart. These people were probably thinking of finding a chance in the future to step on eighth brother's feet. Since you have nothing to do with the Xing family, please get out of my house. I don't want to see your face for the rest of my life. As for your room, I'll keep my dog there. All the guests present were shocked. Xianxia had been invincible in Jianchuan for so many years and had never been afraid of anyone. But now there would come a day when he would be humiliated. In the future, when I see him, I finally won't have to take a detour. No, it would be more accurate to say an eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. Then I can only wish the Xing family good luck. With that, Xianxia turned to look at Mu Qiqi and Su Che in the crowd, gesturing for them to retreat. That was when Gu Xiling suddenly told old Xing, Grandpa Xing, I think I need to think about my engagement with second young master. The guests were shocked when they heard that. It was obvious that Miss Gu did not like second young master. Second brother's face darkened at that. Of course. You must have been shocked that I didn't tell you in advance. It's fine. You can tell me in person when you two have feelings for each other. That would be better. Old Xing immediately smoothed things over. But this has nothing to do with Xianxia. But, Xiling, you must understand that he has come this far for Mu Qiqi. He would never turn back for you. Miss Gu, I have nothing now. Even so, I would never choose to be with you. Don't have any expectations for me or you would end up like your predecessor. Gu Xiling had seen how Xianxia behaved in front of the guests today. His courage to defy his elders moved her. Although she knew that Xianxia did not like her, he gave her an unusual sense of security. Get lost, Xianxia, get lost. The once glorious crown prince has finally become a pauper. Let us congratulate second young master. The guests all raised their glasses to celebrate Xing Kai as the new crown prince of Huangyao. As for Miss Gu, she would probably become Xing Kai's bride in the near future, would she? Xianxia stepped out of the crowd amidst sighs, while Su Che went to greet him. Chief Xing, should we? No need. Xianxia stopped Su Che. He knew that Su Che was loyal to his master and did not want him to be humiliated. Even so, Xianxia believed that this was just the beginning and the real show was yet to come. These people are hot-headed. They might come after you. No one could hurt me even if I'm not in charge of Zhongting now. Of course, it's even better with Zhongting. Come, let's go home with Xiaoqia. The old man still had other tricks up his sleeve, but that had nothing to do with him. Either way, every major news outlet was talking about it. He had left Xianxia in such a high-profile manner so that the old man would have no way back. Soon, third brother led Mu Qiqi out of the Xing residence. Mu Qiqi threw herself into Xing Zhao's arms when she saw him. Why would you put up with all this for me? Xing Zhao smiled and pinched Mu Qiqi's chin. Don't flatter yourself. I'm doing it for myself. As you wish. From now on, you're a pauper that everyone in Jianchuan hates. Third brother rolled his eyes. Do you have to ruin your reputation like that? If I'm going to put an end to it, of course I have to be thorough. Are we still brothers? It's brother. If you're willing to come to me, I don't mind a glass of red wine. With that, Xianxia turned and led Mu Qiqi into a black car. Meanwhile, third brother couldn't help sighing as he watched them leave. Eighth brother was finally free, even if it came at a steep price. At the banquet, the guests appeared unusually excited. They finally had the chance to get back at him for all the bullying they had suffered over the years. But what they did not know was that they were about to see an even harsher and less merciful 8th Master Xing, the military entrepreneur who would make you regret it for the rest of your life the moment you offended him. Second brother, from now on, you and third brother would shoulder the heavy responsibility of building Huangyao. I won't compare you to 8th brother because he's dead in my heart. Chapter 399. Grandfather, have you really let go of 8th brother? I only have hatred for him. With those words, the old man gestured at Gu Xiling with his chin and told Xing Kai, Miss Gu clearly can't accept you, but you are the only one in the Xing family who is worthy of her. Moreover, I've already said it, so the Gu family and I will soon arrange your marriage. I understand, grandfather. And what old Xing was going to do next was to make sure that Xianxia would have no place in Jianchuan. He did not want a stain to live in this world, or rather hang around in front of him. Xing Kai's gaze followed Gu Xiling. He was determined to have this woman not just because she was beautiful, but also because she made him want to conquer her. But he did not know that the scales in Gu Xiling's heart were already tilting towards Xianxia. She might have been born to like men without power or influence. Xing Zhao's departure from the Xing family had spread like wildfire, and the entire city knew about it. Oddly, however, there was no news about Xianxia or the Shen family. Old Shen did not say whether the Shen family would accept him as a live-in son-in-law, and Xianxia did not seem to have returned to the Shen family either. Since he liked the Shen family's style, he had bought another villa not far from the Shen's house in the same style as the Shen's. That way Mu Qiqi would not feel unfamiliar even if she moved in right away. Since you like the Shen's house, can't you just stay there? Xing Zhao's gaze followed her face as he explained seductively, I can't do whatever I want to you whenever and wherever I want if I stay here. What about Jingting? We don't need anything that has anything to do with the Xing family. I'll arrange for someone to move our things out tomorrow. We already have several homes. Xianxia pulled Mu Qiqi and hugged her, telling her, "This is the only place we'll have from now on." Mu Qiqi nodded. In truth, she did not really mind where they were staying, but this place was very close to the Xin family and she liked the good feng shui. That was why she gladly accepted Xing Zhao's arrangement. "Wherever you are, I am. Who asked you to be my man?" Xing Xiao enjoyed it very much and brought Mu Qiqi to the dining room. He had Su Che decorate the place because he wanted to celebrate his new life with his little one. It was rare for Mu Qiqi to wear a white lace dress. Her figure was voluptuous and full of temptation. He really could not tell that the little one had grown up to be able to seduce men. The two had a candlelit dinner. Xing Xiao even extended his hand and invited the little one to dance with him. Their bodies were soon pressed against each other, and Mu Qiqi was intoxicated by the pleasant atmosphere. "I'm always worried when you abandon everything and come out of the Xing family. What are you afraid of?" Xing Xiao asked. "I'm afraid that you'll feel that I've treated you badly and regret it. Then, you'll have to love me even more, Halfway through the dance, Xing Xiao suddenly picked Mu Qiqi up and put her on the dining table before pinning her down. Mu Qiqi simply hooked her arms around his neck, and the two of them began a wild night at the dining table. The lively day was finally over and the Xing family could finally sit down and enjoy a moment of peace. Once the old man calmed down, he began to think about Xing Xiao. "Is Jingting one of the Xing family's properties?" the old man asked. Xing Kai thought about it and answered, "Grandpa Xing, it's eldest aunt who bought it. I think I'll have to ask her. What right does she have to be your eldest aunt after giving birth to a traitor? I'll divorce your uncle as soon as possible." Everyone was stunned at the old man's words. "Grandfather, this has nothing to do with eldest aunt, right?" Third brother was caught between laughter and tears. "She gave birth to our son and it's her fault for not teaching him well. It's perfectly justifiable for me to kick her out." Second brother and third brother shared a look, feeling that the old man's attitude was a little extreme. Second brother, "Go and find out who owns Jingting and if it was bought with the Xing family's money. Fizz. I'll take it back myself." Was the old man trying to kill them all? "Grandfather, you've seen how much eldest aunt has contributed to the Xing family over the years. Moreover, it's never a good thing to break up a family for no reason. I have the final say in this family." The old man was very stubborn. "Do as I say. By the way, keep a dog in Xing Zhao's room. Loyal dog." In that very moment, no one could argue with the old man. He probably hated Xing Xiao too much. Hence, Xing Kai could only obey and call Mama Xing, who was overseas. Still, he could not bear the thought of the old man chasing eldest aunt away. Even so, Xing Xiao had made a huge mess and no one could clean up the mess now. "What is it, Xing Kai?" "Eldest aunt, well, I want to know if the property in Jingting is under your name, or eighth brother's." "What?" Mama Xing asked sarcastically. "My son has left the Xing family, and now my assets are being liquidated? Eldest aunt, grandfather, might really be hurt. When has he not hurt our hearts?" Mama Xing answered second brother after she was done mocking him. "I'm paying for this gift for my son and daughter-in-law. It has nothing to do with the Xing family. It's from my dowry." Second brother told the old man truthfully, but the old man had the same look on his face after he heard it. Her assets. How could she buy Jingting with what she brought from her maiden home? And even if she bought it with her own money, does her money not come from the Xing family? The son is really as shameless as the mother. "I'll bring some men with me tomorrow to take back Jingting. I wouldn't let those traitors have it even if I have to give it to beggars." Second brother said nothing. Perhaps it was a good thing to let his grandfather vent a little. That was why he did not try to dissuade the old man. Even if the old man did not take it back, Xing Xiao had no intention of staying at Jingting. If he wanted to cut ties with the Xing family cleanly, there must not be anything related to the Xing family. Even so, he could not let old Xing take Jingting away for nothing. It was his mother's. Did the old man want it? Not a chance. Asterisk. Next morning, Mama Xing called Xing Xiao and asked him personally, "Are you still staying at Jingting? What is it? I heard that the old man is going to visit personally today to take back Jingting. I've already had my lawyer handle it and you should keep it in mind." Mom, I'm sorry for troubling you. Chapter 400. He even wants me to divorce your father. Mama Xing laughed. But you don't have to worry about it. I'll take care of Mom and Dad. Mom, just bear with it for a while. You'll have more glory than the Xing family in the future. Of course I know that. I never doubted my son's ability. Mu Qiqi was sitting on the bed, feeling helpless and guilty when she heard their conversation. Just because you left the Xing family, I'm being chased out of the Xing family? The old man really knows how to vent his anger on others. Still, I'm not surprised. Something the old man would do. What do you plan to do in Jingting today? Su Che will handle it. Xianxia turned to Mu Qiqi. It's obvious that the old man wants to take revenge on you, Li Tianlan said. Revenge? It was Xing Zhao's disdainful voice toward the old man. Since the old man wanted to put on an act, he would keep him company. That morning, Su Che was ordered by Xing Zhao to move to Jingting. Still, the men he brought were all skilled just in case there was a chance of a fight. Later, the old man arrived at Jingting with his men, assuming that Xing Zhao was still staying there when he saw that there was someone in the house. The sarcasm in his heart deepened. Master, I'll tell the people in the house to leave. The butler did not want a direct confrontation between the old man and Xing Zhao, and so took the task on his own. Leaning on his walking stick, the old man stood ramrod straight in Jingting's garden. Tell the people in the house to leave with dignity if they're leaving. Don't claim to leave the Xing family while hogging their belongings. All right. The old butler entered Jingting's house, but found that there were only a few workers packing Xing Zhao and Mu Qiqi's belongings. The old butler breathed a sigh of relief and asked, "Who's in charge?" Su Che put down the things in his hand and approached him. "I am old man. What's the matter?" "I'm the butler of the Xing family. We're here to take back Jingting." Su Che looked at the old butler for a moment, then said, "I'm sorry, old man. We are only responsible for taking care of the former owner's things. As for who can take them back, that is not up to us. Therefore, we will return the keys and other items to the owner of the property." After hearing that, the old butler returned to Grandpa Xing's side and told him, "Master Xing Zhao is not inside. There are only some workers packing his things. Take your men inside and keep an eye on them. Don't let anyone take anything that belongs to the Xing family. Xing Zhao has nothing now. Who knows, he might steal it." The old butler was astonished when he heard those words. He had never expected the old man to say something like that. Such humiliating words. "Go ahead. Whatever they packed, open it and check. This doesn't seem to be a good idea. I'm telling you to go, so go." These workers did not do anything wrong. Why should he vent his anger on them? Moreover, what good would it do for the old master to humiliate these people? Be that as it may, the old butler led his men into the living room and told Su Che and the others, "Sorry to trouble you, but we would like to open the bags for inspection." In truth, Su Che knew very well why Grandpa Xing was here and so smiled. "What? Afraid that we'll take Jingting's things? We're just taking precautions. I hope you understand. It's fine if you want to inspect it, but please show us the proof of ownership. I heard that this house doesn't belong to the Xing family. If that's the case, you have no right to question our actions if you can't show us the proof." Su Che answered the old butler firmly. "Young man, we're all just trying to make a living. Why do you have to make things difficult for an old man like me?" "But you're making things difficult for me when I'm not making things difficult for you," Su Che replied. "Show me the proof and I'll open the boxes right away. Otherwise, please don't interfere with our work." Helpless, the old butler was about to leave when Grandpa Xing walked in and told Su Che, "Do lowly people like you have the right to speak to my butler? This is already a favor for you, and yet you don't know what's good for you. Men, open the boxes right now." Grandpa Xing's men were about to make a move, but Su Che caught them by the arm and dislocated them with a light touch. "I don't know who you are or what's so great about you, but I'll make anyone who interferes with my work suffer a fate worse than death." Su Che's skills were clearly professional at first glance. Naturally, Grandpa Xing's men were wary. "Old master, why don't we just let it go?" "Let it go? This is the Xing family. It's not up to others." Su Che said nothing else and promptly called the police. Soon Mama Sheng's lawyer and the police entered Jingting together. "It's old Sheng. I've heard a lot about you." Grandpa Sheng would never spare the young policeman a glance and promptly told them, "These people want to take something from the Sheng family. That's why I've asked them to open the boxes for inspection, but they refused. You police see what to do." The policeman and the lawyer looked at each other just as the lawyer and Su Che looked at each other. Then the lawyer took out his credentials and told the old man, "I've been asked by my client Fong Qin to handle the matter at Jingting. I'm sorry, old Sheng, but I have the proof of ownership, investment and every source of funds to buy this house. This definitely has nothing to do with the Sheng family, which is why there is no reason for you to come here today." The old man sneered at that. How could Fong Qin get so much money from her maiden family? Doesn't that money belong to the Sheng family too? The law only recognizes words in black and white. The lawyer emphasized. "You may be my client's father-in-law, but I still have to tell you that this house has nothing to do with you. If you insist on pestering me, then I won't be polite either." "Humph. Why would you dare to offend me if you know who I am?" Since Grandpa Sheng couldn't take it by force, he began to act shamelessly, pressuring the lawyer with his status. "I don't care who you are. Even the president is equal before the law." The lawyer replied stubbornly. "By the way, Mr. Su, my client has said that you can take whatever you like from the house. That's not necessary. My client has also said that even if this house has nothing to do with the Sheng family, he would be disgusted if the Sheng family set their eyes on it. That's why he doesn't need a single needle or thread inside." Chapter 401. The old man was furious, but there was nothing he could do. Now he finally understood why Xianxia had so many rebellious thoughts. It was all because of his mother. That woman must be chased out of the Sheng family as soon as possible. Old Master Sheng had personally made a trip to Jingting, but returned empty-handed. He was being unreasonable in the first place, because he stubbornly believed that the money Mama Sheng spent after marrying into the Sheng family was rightfully the Sheng family's money. And since it was the Sheng family's money, he certainly would not let those ingrates benefit from it. Everyone in the Sheng family could sense that the old man's temperament had changed after being provoked yesterday. It was as if he would take a bite out of Xianxia wherever he went. Afraid that the old man's body could not take it, second brother told the old man, "Grandfather, eighth brother has nothing now. I've spoken to our business partners and they would not be polite or merciful if they see Xianxia. Why bother with him yourself? I don't want to let the ingrate's matter rest just like that. You must pay the price for betraying the Sheng family. Grandfather, you don't have to say anything else. Just do your job. The Gu family would come for dinner tonight to discuss your marriage with Xiling." However, judging from Gu Xiling's expression, it was obvious that she was unwilling. "Grandfather, Miss Gu doesn't seem that willing. I've already said what I've said. It's not up to her whether she wants to or not." The old man became even more forceful. "I've already spoken to the Gu family. She would definitely marry into the Sheng family, and you are the best candidate." Second brother said nothing, but he knew very well that Gu Xiling had no feelings for him. "Make things difficult for Xianxia when you see him in the future." Xing Kai nodded to appease the old man. "Don't worry, grandfather. I won't let eighth brother off." Satisfied, the old man returned to his study and called his son. "Eldest brother, I'm giving you two clear choices. 1. Get out of the Sheng family and out of my sight like that unfilial son of yours. 2. Divorce Fong Qin." Papa Sheng was completely unaware that things would turn out this way, and so asked the old man awkwardly, "Father, what does this have to do with Xiao Qin? She's my wife. How could you instigate a divorce between us?" "Then do you want to choose the first option?" "Dad, I'll give you 3 days. Give me a reply once you've thought it through." Old Sheng gave his final ultimatum, as if he was not giving Papa Sheng any chance of survival. Mama Sheng heard their conversation and smiled. "You don't have to feel troubled. I'll pack my things and go back to Jianchuan in 2 days." Unable to bear it, Papa Sheng grabbed Mama Sheng's arm. "Xiaoqin, what would you do if we really split up? I still have a son and a daughter-in-law." "It won't be very tragic, but I know that you won't give up your career in the Sheng family. If that's the case, you should make a decision as soon as possible so that everyone won't suffer." Mama Sheng shook off Papa Sheng's hand and turned to return to her room. There was nothing she could do if old Master Sheng wanted to kill her. Of course, Mama Xing never intended to let Xing Xiao know about it. That was why she had planned to divorce her husband behind Xing Zhao's back. But old Xing would not let the family have peace. He spread the news of the couple's divorce, letting everyone know that it was because of Xing Xiao that the couple had fallen out of control. Hence Xing Xiao was filled with regret. Would Xing Xiao have such a huge reaction? On the other hand, Mu Qiqi felt very guilty. Would Dad and Mom really divorce because of us? Xing Xiao called Mama Xing to ask about Papa Xing's attitude. Mom, if Dad is reluctant to leave you and is willing to leave the Xing family, I would help him regain his pride as a father. But if he chooses the Xing family and not you, there is no need to keep some people. Give us 2 more days, 8th brother. If Dad chooses you, I'll have Su Che send a helicopter to pick you up. Wait for my reply. Over the years, Papa Xing's attitude had changed under the old man's constant pressure. Even so, he was abroad with his wife and his life seemed to have returned to when they were newlyweds. He could not bear to part with Mama Xing. However, the old man was insistent on forcing him and he could not make a decision at once. Mama Xing was waiting for his final answer. In truth, he knew very well that Xing Xiao had betrayed the Xing family. He would not be treated well by the old man even if he returned to Jianchuan. Still, he would have a hard time giving up his luxurious life even if it was someone else. 3 days passed and old Sheng's call came as promised. Have you thought it through? Dad, why must you force me? You can only blame yourself for giving birth to a good son. Old Xing said. If you don't divorce that woman, I would feel terrible just looking at her. Even if she had taken care of you for years in the Xing family, wouldn't you remember old ties? Old ties? Your son didn't say anything about old ties when he abandoned the Xing family. That's all you're good for. You can't even make up your mind after 3 days. If that's the case, I'll take it that you've chosen the Xing family. When you come back, bring me the divorce agreement between you and that woman. Papa Xing felt terrible, especially when he saw Mama Xing carrying her suitcase and getting into the car when he answered the call. He panicked at once. That was why he quickly hung up on old Xing and chased after her without thinking. Mama Xing ran all the way to the airport with Papa Xing chasing after her. There were some things that people only realized how important they were in critical moments. Therefore, when Mama Xing got out of the car, Papa Xing caught up to her and grabbed her arm. Xiaoqin. Mama Xing turned to look at Papa Xing and paused. You don't have to send me off. I'm not here to send you off. I won't sign the divorce papers either. Papa Xing answered seriously. I've been a coward in the Xing family for so many years, and I've always treated Dad's words like an imperial edict. I know that Xing Zhao's matter has angered him, but I really didn't expect that he would ask me to leave my wife. Mama Xing's eyes reddened at that. But you'll lose everything if you choose me. It's fine. I'm never valued in the Xing family anyway. Papa Xing hugged his wife. I'm sorry, Xiaoqin. I've let you and Xing Xiao bear a lot of responsibility and torture because I wasn't valued all these years. I know that you've left the country because you can't let go of me. Otherwise, you would have left with Xing Xiao. Chapter 402. Why would Papa Xing become like that? It was because Mama Xing knew that the young man had been full of vigor when she first met him, but he had to act mature and capable because he was the eldest son of the Xing family. Even so, he was not suited for that role. He had been trying to gain affirmation from the old man over the years, but he had never been pleased. That was why he felt less and less secure. Mama Xing had seen it all with her own eyes. Is it okay to have nothing if you don't divorce me? It doesn't matter. We can be an ordinary couple as long as I'm with you. We're already so old and I really don't want to fight anymore. Mama Xing burst into tears at those words and thumped Papa Xing's chest. Why did you only come around now? I almost left. I'm sorry, Xiaoqin. I'll make it clear to Dad when we get home that I won't sign the divorce papers. Mama Xing nodded and allowed Papa Xing to wipe her tears. We'll be together from now on. Yes, and that troublemaker Xing Xiao too. But I have to get my passport first. Mama Xing smiled but called Xing Xiao right in front of Papa Xing. Send someone to get me, and your father. Papa Xing did not know what trick Mama Xing was playing. He only reacted when the helicopter stopped in front of them. Did Xing Xiao send this? Yes. Otherwise, do you really think that your son would go begging on the streets after leaving the Xing family? Mama Xing smiled. Old Xing, listen to your son when you get back to Jianchuan. He told me that he would help you regain your pride as a father if you choose me. There was a flash of surprise in Papa Sheng's eyes. Xianxia should be in a bad situation in Jianchuan right now. Perhaps Xianxia was trying to give him the only shred of dignity he had as a father. Still, he really did not care. He could endure an ordinary life since he had chosen this mother and son. Be that as it may, he was left stunned when he arrived at Jianchuan and found Xianxia leading a group of his subordinates. Son. Mama Xing promptly lunged at him. Papa Xing did a double take and only reacted after a long time. Eighth brother. What's going on? Get in the car. You'll understand in a while. Xianxia had Su Che arrange for his parents to get in the car and brought them to Zhongting. When the employee at the door saw Xianxia, he greeted him respectfully, Chief Xing. Papa Xing followed and soon arrived at Xingzhao's office on the 54th floor. Seeing that the office was even more spacious than Huang Yao's, he finally understood. When did you start your own business? It's been a while. I founded Zhongting with my father-in-law, a military enterprise. Papa Xing stood in front of the French window and looked out at all of Jianchuan, his heart boiling. So this is a company that truly belongs to our family. Dad, you chose Mom, which means that you have family and love in your heart. As your son, of course, I hope that the two of you can be safe and happy. So if you're willing, the doors of Zhongting are open for you. Papa Xing felt his eyes brimming with tears at that. Here he did not have to endure Grandpa Xing's disdain, nor did he have to think about who he was working so hard for. Good. You really are my son. You're really promising. I know that you studied industrial design overseas, Dad. That's why I need a senior engineer. Papa Xing laughed and cried at that. You knew that I'm not cut out for management, didn't you? Then he nodded. I just don't know if my old bones could do it. Of course. Xianxia smiled. It was the first time father and son had such a calm conversation. Of course, Papa Xing could feel that Xianxia had clearly matured. His brashness was gone and he could be mature and steady now. This is my own business and I would definitely do my best. Don't worry, your father would definitely become the best industrial designer in Jianchuan for you to see. Still, Dad, Huang Yao is suppressing us right now. That's why we shouldn't expose our identities. When the time is right, the Xing family would know everything. Let the old man think that I'm poor now. That way he wouldn't pay attention to us. Papa Xing looked at Mama Xing and nodded. I promised your mother that I would listen to everything you say. But after we leave the Xing family, your mother and we're staying at Jingting. Mama Xing said. It's my property. No one has the right to say anything. Then let's have a good lunch. I'll bring you to the Xing family at night to make things clear with the old man. Where's Xiaoqi? Mama Xing couldn't help asking, missing her fiancé dearly. She's at the forensics lab. She'll meet you tonight. Xianxia replied. Meanwhile, Papa Xing was touring around Zhongting, because he really couldn't believe that he could find his true place in his old age. There's going to be a good show at the Xing family in the afternoon. Mama Xing rarely saw her husband like that. Her eyes were twinkling just like when he was young, but she was still worried that her husband would be hurt when they returned home. Of course, the old man is a brave warrior. Your father used to hate him too, but it's because I've seen him like this that I'm never willing to give up on him. Xianxia put his arm over his mother's shoulder as a silent consolation. You're the only one who can protect me tonight. Do you even need to ask? Old Xing was very certain that his eldest son would definitely choose the Xing family. But why? Because he had been a wimp all his life. He couldn't give up on his wealth and glory in his middle age. To him, women were not worthy of respect. He could just find another wife if he lost his wife. What's more, a disobedient one. That was why old Xing never imagined that his eldest son would say no to him one day. After waiting for a day and a night, the old man finally got to see his eldest son. But why was Mama Xing still with him? The old man looked rather displeased. Didn't I only ask you to bring the divorce papers? You don't have to divorce this woman in front of me. Papa Xing turned and glanced at Mama Xing before telling the old man, Father, I'm not getting a divorce. Chapter 403. What did Xiaoqin do wrong? Papa Xing asked the old man in distress. You know very well what she did wrong. She gave birth to a bastard like Xianxia and turned the Xing family upside down. Do you think the Xing family would tolerate her? Ever since Xing Zhao's provocation at the birthday party, old Xing had become even sharper and more unreasonable towards his own family. And because Mama Xing had given birth to Xing Xiao, the old man took his anger out on her. Seeing that Papa Xing was not moving, the old man rose from his chair and looked at his son. I know you're used to being indecisive and don't know how to make a decision. How about this? I'll let you stay in the Xing family if you chase this woman out with your own hands. With Papa Xing's temper in the past, he would have dug out his heart to show the old man how much he had contributed to the Xing family. You still can't do it? No. Papa Xing suddenly looked up at the old man. I'm just thinking what kind of father would divorce his daughter-in-law. I'm thinking what kind of father would humiliate his daughter-in-law like that and treat everyone as if they were not human. I'm thinking what kind of father would force his own child to this extent. Are you even human? Papa Xing suddenly asked old Xing loudly. I've had enough of you over the years. How much longer do you think you can do whatever you want? Do you really think you're an emperor? The old man suddenly laughed at Papa Xing's words. What? Are you going to learn from your son and betray the Xing family? Isn't it normal for a father like you to be betrayed? Papa Xing encouraged himself inwardly and became strong. Do you still want my inheritance? Do you still want your place in the Xing family? If you still want to, then kneel down and apologize. At that, Mama Xing was about to step forward and argue with Grandpa Xing when Papa Xing stopped her. I'm sorry, but I really don't want it. What did you say? I said I don't want anything in the Xing family, but I'm never divorcing Xiaoqin. Papa Xing said firmly. I hope that when you play with people's hearts, you will think about whether you will have a good end. Xiaoqin, let's go. With that, they were about to leave the house. But Grandpa Xing was puzzled. Boss, did you take the wrong medicine? I can understand that. But you, after being a coward for so many years, who are you trying to show your strength to? It's not that I'm strong, it's that you'll lose more and more family members. Just wait and see. Eldest brother, you have to know that once you walk out of this door, you will be just like your unfilial son. You will never get anything from the Xing family. In the past, I saw Huang Yao as more important than my life. I thought that as long as I worked hard, you would be able to see my existence. But no. I don't care about any of that. That's why the Xing family and Huang Yao are nothing to me. You can just guard your Huang Yao and die alone. This time, Papa Xing did not turn around. He wasn't as weak as before. Instead, he directly shed all pretense of cordiality with the old master. He wasn't afraid of anything. This time, Mama Xing didn't even have time to speak. Grandpa Xing watched them leave with a complicated look in his eyes. Even eldest brother, who had always been the most obedient, was bewitched by others and left his side. Get lost. I'll make you all regret betraying me sooner or later. Soon, the other members of the Xing family learned about Papa Xing bringing Mama Xing home and causing a ruckus at the Xing residence. Third brother and his brothers felt a lot at that. Grandpa's personality changed drastically that day. He seems to be harder to get along with than before, and his control over his family has increased too. Maybe he's afraid. Second brother answered, looking at his younger brother. Did you know? I really think that eighth brother has gone too far this time. How could he embarrass the Xing family in front of so many guests? Third brother couldn't help frowning at that. Second brother, I thought you understood eighth brother. He has a responsibility as a descendant of the Xing family. He does have a responsibility, but don't you think it's too heavy to put the burden of Huang Yao on his shoulders alone? Third brother asked Xing Kai, pointing at his own shoulder. Yes, he did choose a deadly method. But you should know what kind of person our grandfather is. He forced eldest uncle and eldest aunt to divorce today. Eighth brother wouldn't have taken that path if he had a way out. I don't think he did anything wrong this time. The two brothers had diverged over the matter. It was no wonder that Xing Xiao told him about Zhongting and not second brother. Xing Xiao believed in Xing Kai's ability, but he still held back. Let's not talk about that. What do you think about Grandpa letting you marry Miss Gu soon? She doesn't want to. Third brother laughed at those words. She would be your undisputed wife whether she wants to or not. Why else do you think eighth brother is fighting against the old man? You should persuade her too. It's a foregone conclusion. The two brothers returned to their respective rooms after discussing the day's troubles. However, second brother found Gu Xiling drinking again in the Xing family's garden. Second brother's words suddenly flashed in his mind. and Xianxia walked up to Gu Xiling. Still not sleeping? He asked. I'm thinking about how to break free from this marriage. Do you really not want to marry me that much? Second brother asked Gu Xiling. Gu Xiling suddenly looked up at second brother with a glass of red wine in hand. Yes. If I had a choice, I would rather be Xiao who has nothing. Second brother chuckled and told Gu Xiling, just accept your fate. You will be my fiancé whether you want to or not. Moreover, you are so proud and have lived with someone else. I haven't despised your birth, so what right do you have to pick on me? Gu Xiling's body stiffened abruptly. If you marry me, it means I can't find the girl I like. What right do you have to look like I'm holding you back? Don't you know who's holding whom back? Gu Xiling opened her mouth, wanting to retort, but she could not say a word. Sleep early if there's nothing else. Instead of thinking about unrealistic things, it's better to be prepared to marry into the Xing family. Moreover, even if you would rather choose Xiao who has nothing, he would rather have nothing than to have you. Chapter 404. A woman like Gu Xiling indeed came from a wealthy family. Her behavior and demeanor were like that of a young lady from a wealthy family. However, she also had the arrogance of a wealthy socialite. Hurt, she felt that the world had wronged her, that everyone should give in to her, and that it was only natural for everyone to be nice to her. At first, Xianxia would accommodate her, but as time went by and he understood her inner world, Xianxia realized that it was no wonder that Xiao would risk his life to leave the Xing family. After all, Gu Xiling was a galaxy away from Muqiqi. And yet he had no choice but to marry such a woman. After all, he did not have the courage to betray the Xing family and the old man. Gu Xiling had never seen Xianxia lose his temper, and she probably felt that she was innocent. Women always like to choose the strongest man. He did not think that she was wrong. In her eyes, Xianxia seemed to be angry out of humiliation. That night, the atmosphere in the Xing family was solemn. Everyone was trembling in fear even as they ate, afraid that they would infuriate the old man if they were careless and be chased out of the house just like that. There was no consideration for family. Even so, there was warmth like never before in the Xing family at Empire Hotel. Mama Xing quickly went to hug Muqiqi when she saw her, but Muqiqi gently pushed her away. Mommy, don't hug me. I smell. Mama Xing smiled, unconcerned. Why can't I if my son can stand it? I've been helping out at the forensics lab in the first few days of school and couldn't report back. It would be better when I get back to school. Muqiqi explained. Since you've chosen this path, Mommy would definitely support you. Papa Xing suddenly felt a little ashamed when he saw how close his wife was with Muqiqi. Chichi, it's all my fault for mistreating you in the past. Don't take it to heart and I'll treat you like my own daughter from now on. Muqiqi smiled and glanced at Xiao before answering Papa Xing. I'm already very grateful that you've come back and not let Xiao lose his family. Let bygones be bygones and we should look forward as a family. You're right, Chichi. Mama Xing said, looking bashfully into Papa Xing's eyes. It's been so many years, but this is the first time I've seen your father scolding that old man. I would have forgotten that he has a temper if he wasn't like that. I wouldn't have known how vast the skies are if I didn't come out. Papa Xing sighed before asking Xiao, when do I need to start working? As soon as possible, but your mood. As long as I work, I can forget those unhappy things in the past. Don't worry. Papa Xing replied. Let me prove my worth. One day I'll tell that old man that I could make a name for myself even without the Xing family. Mama Xing smiled from the bottom of her after finally seeing her old self. Muqiqi breathed a sigh of relief when she saw how happy her parents were. Everything, Xing Mu Papa, Dad. After a while, the two elders went to the washroom together, while Xiao put his arm around Muqiqi's neck. Who told you to wear a white coat? What's wrong with me? Muqiqi was confused. You don't know what's wrong with you? Xiao asked in return. Every time I see you in a white coat, I find you especially attractive. Muqiqi's face flushed red. Let me go. Mom and Dad will be back soon. When Mama Xing returned to her seat, she saw such a taboo scene. She quickly turned around. These two children wanted to flirt, but they didn't know where they were. Mom's back. After Xiao was satisfied, he let go of Muqiqi and pulled her up. You guys are leaving just like that? I'll give you and Dad a chance to have a candlelight dinner. Xianxia said as he walked. Mama Sheng smiled and shook her head. She did not chase after them. She waited for her husband to come back and said, "The two young ones have left first." Papa Sheng frowned. Mama Sheng said, "You know your son. He's anxious about everything. But what's the rush?" It turned out that our Zhou Xian had accidentally set himself on fire when he was teasing his little wife. Now he was burning with lust. Once they entered the underground parking lot and got into the car, Xianxia grabbed Muqiqi and pulled her onto his lap. "I was wondering why you were in such a hurry to leave." After all, Muqiqi could already feel the warmth of his body. She had thought that Xianxia would immediately take her home. But little did she know that Xianxia drove the car to a blind spot in the garage and closed the window. Then he kissed Muqiqi fiercely. "I'm sorry, little one. I can't wait until we get home." The underground parking lot was the hotel's parking lot, and there would be people coming and going from it from time to time. Muqiqi was very nervous, afraid that she would make a sound and attract attention. Xianxia knew that she was shy and so stimulated the little one even more, deliberately driving her crazy. Her shirt was pushed up to her neck and her whole body was pressed against the steering wheel. There's someone." There was no need to mention how exciting that position was. Muqiqi almost went crazy. In the corner, the two were entangled in extreme pleasure, and it was only after 2 hours that Muqiqi weakly fell into Xianxiao's arms. Even so, the scent of their pleasure lingered in the car. "Oh, I can't. I'm so tired." Smiling, Xianxia fastened the seatbelt for her and quickly led her home. By the time they reached home, Muqiqi had already fallen asleep. But subconsciously she knew who was hugging her. So she smiled sweetly at the person who was hugging her. Xianxiao's heart melted at the sight. "What are you smiling about? Silly thing." "It's good that you didn't lose your parents." Xianxia abruptly stopped in his tracks at those words. In this world, only that idiot would wholeheartedly think for him and do everything for him. Now that everyone he cared about had left the Xing family, it meant that no one could stop Zhongting's development from now on. Even so, he did not know that his wish to fulfill second brother's wish was precisely planting a seed of disaster in second brother's heart. Chapter 405. Perhaps because she was humiliated by Xing Kai last night, Gu Xiling returned to the Gu family in the middle of the night, only to be sent back again the next morning. According to family caretakers, she was now the Xing family's arranged daughter-in-law. In fact, she was just a prearranged commodity. "Xiling, don't be stubborn while old Master Xing is still taking care of you. Although second young master is not as good as the crown prince, he is the real leader of the Xing family. If you don't marry him, who else can you marry?" Mama Gu's advice to Gu Xiling when she sent her back to the Xing family. "You have no choice." "I'll listen to you, Mom." Gu Xiling closed her eyes, pretending that it was all a dream. "Xiling, you have so many secrets. Don't let the Xing family find out." When old Xing learned that Gu Xiling had sneaked home, he asked her, "Is Grandpa Xing not good enough for you?" "It's not like that, Grandpa Xing. Mommy wasn't feeling well last night and called me. That's why I rushed back and didn't tell you." Gu Xiling quickly explained and without looking at Xing Kai told the old man, "As for my marriage, it's up to you, Grandpa Xing." Old Xing was certainly relieved at that. "Don't worry. I've always treated you as the future matriarch of the Xing family, and the Xing family would depend on you to manage it from now on. Since you two are so anxious, I'll meet your parents as soon as possible and settle your marriage." Still, second brother was puzzled. Could it be because of what he said last night? Even so, he did not give Gu Xiling any face at the time. Why was she still willing? Gu Xiling did not look at Xing Kai's expression. Either way, whether she gave Xing Kai a face or not would not change their marriage. Instead, she might as well let herself be happy. Third brother could not help sighing at Xing Kai when he saw their interaction. "I really don't know if eighth brother's departure is a blessing or a torture for you. Did you know that Grandpa is secretly investigating eighth brother?" Xing Kai asked in return. "Still not giving up?" "I'm afraid it's not that simple." Xing Kai shook his head. "Based on Grandpa's temper now, I'm afraid he would want to humiliate and take revenge on eighth brother. He really can't get over it." Third brother could not help sighing emotionally. He only hoped that the old man would not find out anything, or he would definitely die from anger. How could Xianxia not know that someone was investigating him? But now that the Xin family was protecting him, he just needed to be the poor son-in-law of the Xin family. As for the other things, Grandpa Xing would cover it up for him. At the moment, Papa Xing was working in Zhongting, or rather Mama Xing had specially built a workshop for him at home. Mama Xing was very pleased to see him regain his former confidence. A cool breeze caressed his face at night. Xianxia had arranged to have dinner with Secretary He at a hotel, and he was traveling with only Su Che at all times. Su Che appeared to be a young man without any fighting ability at all. Who would have known that he could break someone's arm with just a small movement? Xianxia and Su Che entered the private room first. That was when several young masters of Jianchuan saw Xianxia and started discussing among themselves. Is that the crown prince of Huangyao who just entered? What crown prince? Are you still treating him like a dish now? The crown prince has been replaced long ago. I haven't forgotten that he once hung me on the mountain behind my house and I almost died. The three young masters of Jianchuan looked at each other and hit it off. Since he made you suffer so much and we happen to bump into each other, it would be a waste of fate if we don't make things difficult for him. Soon, the three of them worked together and pushed open the door to the private room Xianxia had just entered. Oh, isn't that the crown prince of Huangyao? What a coincidence. Crown prince, do you still have the money to come to such a high-class hotel? The three of them became even more brazen when they entered the private room and found that Xianxia was alone with a little boy. The three of them sat at different corners of the round table behaving like rich kids, and it was obvious that they had ulterior motives. Xianxia had been reading some documents, but passed them to Su Che behind him when he saw them. Put them away. Understood. Still acting so serious. There's no one else here, so don't put on an act in front of us. Let's get straight to the point. Looking at the time, Secretary He should be arriving soon. He didn't want these people to disrupt everyone's conversation. Do you remember how you hung me on a tree 3 years ago? One of the lanky young masters narrowed his eyes at Xianxia. I'll never forget you for the rest of my life. What? Do you want to be hung again? Xianxia retorted. The young master, however, slammed his fist on the table. Who do you think you are now? How dare you talk to me like that? Do you believe that I'll have my men come after you every day? Xianxia turned to look at Su Che and smiled. Is that so? I'm a little scared. How about this? Tell me, how would you calm down? Simple. Crawl between my legs. Or kneel before me and shout that you're wrong. Then I'll consider letting you go. After all, the Xing family is clamoring for revenge and you probably wouldn't have the guts to fight back. Xianxia laughed at the man's words. Don't you remember why I hung you on a tree 3 years ago? Who else would I hang if not you to humiliate a waitress in a hotel? That was before. Do you still have the guts to strut around in front of me now? I'll call for help right now. There are 3 of you and only 2 of us. Are you calling for help? Xianxia asked. What? Kneel and apologize if you're scared. The 3 men appeared ready to fight, their heads held high and brimming with the arrogance and shamelessness of the scions of aristocratic families. Fine. Kneel. However, Xianxia did not say who he wanted to kneel. He merely glanced at Su Che behind him and instructed, "Don't kill anyone." Su Che nodded, his face still impassive. Meanwhile, the 3 men laughed. You're still putting on airs when you're like that? You think you're still the same just because you have a lackey beside you? Before the man could finish his sentence, Su Che stepped forward and threw him over his shoulder to the ground. His speed was so fast that no one could clearly see when he had arrived. You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.